For years, Naruto was the scapegoat for everything that went wrong in the village. The Kyuubi attack, the Uchiha Massacre, every tragedy somehow became his fault. But after the villagers finally push him too far, something primal awakens inside him. The sweet, lonely boy disappears, replaced by a monster with the power to steal Kekkei Genkai and make their bloodlines his own. They spent years treating Naruto like a curse. Now they're about to learn what happens when the curse fights back. Sasuke's body collapsed to the ground, dead. Naruto screamed in agony as he clutched his chest, his breathing quickening as tears streamed from his eyes, the world around his shattering like glass as he appeared in a room filled with red. "You lack hatred. You lack everything you need to defeat me," Itachi stated as he met Naruto's blue eyes, Itachi's Sharingan spinning wildly. "You've grown complacent, daring to let yourself be happy for a change, but you will never be happy. The moment you forget your hatred, forget your anger, not only will you lose everything you love." Itachi moved forward, his face right next to Naruto's ear. "I will be the one to take them again. You will be left with nothing due to your ignorance. I told you all those years ago to let your rage, anger, and hatred to fester and grow, yet you ignored me. Let me give you a reminder." He stood up as he grabbed Naruto by the throat and lifted him into the air, his Sharingan shifting into its Manjikyu state. "In order to let yourself be happy, you must kill me." A fist went right through Naruto's chest, causing him to scream in pain. "But at the moment, you are nowhere near my level. Enjoy hell, Naruto." He dropped Naruto on the ground before Naruto saw Itachi begin slaughtering everyone he knew over and over again until it became too much as he suddenly felt a pulse and power come over him. A few markings began crossing his body as he let out a shout of rage before the reality he saw cracked and his eyes opened. Flashback end. To begin the preliminaries, a man named Ganma began, two names appearing on the screen. We will have Choji Akimichi versus Sasuke Uchiha. The fight was completely one-sided, Sasuke obliterating Choji the entire fight before knocking him out with a developed version of Chidori Scatter, causing lightning to immobilize Choji before the fat boy surrendered. Next, we have Sakura Haruno versus Ino Yamanaka. This fight was equally one-sided as well. Sakura, who had taken her training seriously when she became a genin, dominated Ino easily, making the blonde give up quite easily. Yoroi versus Misumi. Ill fate. Two teammates facing each other. In the end, they were equally matched and the author deemed them irrelevant enough to where they knocked each other out, therefore making it a draw and no one moving on because they suck. Next, we have Hinata Hyuga versus Rock Lee. Now this was going to be an interesting fight. Naruto watched as Rock Lee evaded Hinata's gentle fist strike with his amazing speed before he knocked the girl out with a well-placed kick to the temple, knocking her out. It was ironic the Hyuga heiress, a clan that specialized in taijutsu, lost to a boy who only had taijutsu. Naruto doubted that the Hyuga elders would be pleased with this development. Now we have Kankuro versus Gaara. Kankuro immediately paled and surrendered quickly, much to his opponent's disdain. Gaara gave Kankuro an even-headed glare that made the boy piss his pants just a little. Tenten versus Temari. This one was funny in Sasuke's opinion. Temari had just used one simple wind jutsu and knocked Tenten out as the girl under Guy's tutelage fell helplessly on the fan. Hokage-sama, Anko began. We have an uneven amount of people trying to fight. We have 3 people left, Shikamaru Nara, Neji Hyuga, and Naruto Uzumaki. Hiruzen bit the edge of his pipe as he thought for a few seconds before nodding at the idea he came up with. It'd be unfair for a 1v1 against Naruto. Team up Neji and Shikamaru and put them against Naruto. Anko's eyes widened, but she nodded before telling Genma. Genma cleared his throat before addressing the crowd of Genin and Jounin. Due to an uneven amount of teams, it will be Shikamaru Nara and Neji Hyuga versus Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto seemed surprised and began walking towards the arena, where he met Neji's glare and Shikamaru's rather panicked look. Please, give up now. I don't wish to fight either of you, Naruto said as he willed the curse mark to stay put, it trying to lend Naruto the power it provided at the prospect of the fight. Humph, Neji snorted. Just because you're scared doesn't mean we'll give up out of pity. If you call yourself a ninja, then fight, he shouted proudly. I'm not saying that to protect myself, Naruto whispered as Itachi flashed in his mind. I'm saying it to protect you all from me, and I do want to proceed to the 3rd stage of the exams. So I cannot lose, nor give up. Shikamaru began walking away, intending on giving up right away but was stopped when Asuma, his sensei, spoke up. Shikamaru, if you quit then I'll tell your mother. Shikamaru froze as chills went up his spine before he turned back around. What a drag! Asuma-sensei, Shikamaru muttered, pulling out the trump card so early? He then turned to Naruto and gave the blonde an apologetic lazy smile. Sorry, Naruto. Looks like we got a fight. Naruto looked up at the Hokage, who stood higher than the rest as he peered down at the genin. What are you up to, old man? He asked, his eyes narrowed. You know all too well of my capabilities. Are you questioning me? Hiruzen spoke as he met Naruto's dark blue eyes. Naruto scowled as he took a deep breath. Yes, he shouted. I've been questioning you ever since you turned your back on me. He pointed at the Hokage. You abandoned me to those fucking villagers. You abandoned me when Shisui died, and you abandoned me when I was alone for all of those years. The only good thing you did was point out where Sasuke was. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes at the genin. Fight or be disqualified, boy. I will not allow you to question my decisions. Naruto glared at Hiruzen before he smirked. Fine, that's fine, he said sarcastically as he cracked his neck really quickly. Shikamaru, stick to the side. I know you, we went to the academy together, so I won't kill you. He then glared at Neji, who stood confidently in his fighting stance. But I have no obligations to the Hyuga. He looked at the proctor. You heard the Hokage. I'll fight. Start the match so I can fucking murder this prick. Hiruzen's eyes widened at Naruto's words. He began, whispering under his breath, have made a terrible miscalculation. Hokage-sama, an Umbu said as he looked at the worried Hokage nervously. Should we stop the fight? Hiruzen sadly shook his head. We cannot. It'd show favoritism, and as Hokage, I cannot allow that. Gunma looked nervously at the Hokage before he began the match. A prodigy Hyuga dies today. How interesting. Naruto began as he suddenly felt himself restricted as Shikamaru held him with his shadow, the Nara already sweating. I can't let you kill him, Naruto. He's our comrade. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the Nara. Don't talk as if you can do anything about it, Shikamaru. Naruto whispered venomously as he began walking, breaking the shadow connection Shikamaru had over him, surprising everyone in the room. Humph. Trash like you don't deserve to speak. Neji yelled as he charged Naruto, ready to strike the teen with a quick jab to the heart, but was suddenly stopped when Naruto grabbed the older teen's wrist and broke it just by squeezing. I said I'd kill you. 3 people in this room can stop me right now. One is your sensei, the other is Shikamaru's sensei, and the last is the stupid Hokage. I apologize, but your blood will be the ink I use to write my message to everyone who fucks with Naruto Uzumaki. A sudden punch to the face of the Hyuga sent him flying across the arena, causing him to hit the ground. Naruto felt a familiar warm sensation erupt from his body as he smirked. He opened his eyes as the Byakugan suddenly appeared, shocking everyone in the room except Yugao, Sasuke, Sakura, and Hiruzen. Huh, I can see everything now. Interesting. How does he have the Byakugan? Kurenai almost yelled in shock. It's like he copied Neji's bloodline, Asuma muttered in return. What the hell is this? He looked at his father, who only looked at the fight stoically. Naruto lifted his hand without even glancing at Shikamaru's direction as he caught the kunai with ease. This is cool as shit, not gonna lie, Naruto said before he sent the kunai straight back to Shikamaru, lightning spreading across the metal before it scrapped past Shikamaru's skin, causing a small cut to appear on Shikamaru's cheek. You missed, Shikamaru asked. Naruto shook his head. I did not, he replied before Shikamaru was suddenly enveloped in lightning before he passed out, smoke slowly coming off his body. He'll be fine, he's just unconscious. Naruto spoke to anyone that was worried for the Nara. He then focused on the Hyuga who had stood back up, his own Byakugan glaring at Naruto, blood seeping from his nose and mouth. How dare you get our precious eyes? You are no Hyuga, he shouted. Naruto shrugged. Yep, I'm not. I'm an orphan. No clan over here. He then met Hiruzen's eyes once again. Is what I would have said a couple of months ago. Hiruzen's eyes widened before one word came from his mouth. Kakashi, he muttered, damning the Hatake for revealing such a thing to Naruto. You see, someone forgot to tell me something quite important. I'm from a rather old clan, and I descend by one of the 4 Hokages. Care to take a guess who? Realization dawned upon everyone in the room as Hiruzen cursed aloud this time. That's right, Minato fucking Namikaze. Imagine being his son and not knowing about it, and then finding out about it just 2 days before that person who told you died. It's fucking hilarious, right? He shouted, laughing. I first tried to rationalize it, but then I couldn't. Why was I, the son of the 4th Hokage, treated like fucking trash in the village that he saved? Is it because I hold the Kyuubi? Or perhaps that you wanted to keep my birthright from me? He began laughing like a maniac, disturbing everyone deeply. My name is Naruto Namikaze, you sons of bitches. No more Uzumaki, by mother's maiden name, who was Kushina Uzumaki, just in case you were wondering, one of the remaining survivors of the Uzumaki clan, just so you know. He turned to Sasuke, meeting the Uchiha's shocked eyes. We're not different at all, Sasuke. We're the last of our clans. It sucks, right? He then got serious as he glared at the Hyuga. But this changes nothing. Lightning sparked across the blonde's body as he disappeared from Niji's sight, which was kinda hard because of his Byakugan. Naruto suddenly appeared behind the Hyuga, a Chidori right behind Niji's head, tears streaming down Naruto's face. Please, give up. I don't want to be more of a monster, he whispered. Niji's eyes widened as he rose his hand. I give up. Naruto let out a large sigh as he dropped to his knees, despair taking over as he clutched his shirt, right over his heart, hyperventilating. I had a right to know. They were my family. Kakashi tried to adopt me. I had a family. I wasn't abandoned or left for dead. I should have known. Why didn't I know? Why didn't I know? He shouted as he cried. Sakura and Sasuke immediately hopped over the fence and immediately caught the boy in the hug as he wept into their shoulders. Please, don't leave me, he cried loudly, clutching like a lifeline as everyone looked at the boy with a mix of shock and pity. Please don't leave me too. Asuma took a long drag from his cigarette as he looked at his father. Reap what you sow, was all he said before walking away. Chapter 19, Plague. Naruto sat in an open field, the Byakugan active, his eyes closed as ice crystals formed on the ground beneath him, causing the grass that was blowing in the wind to freeze mid-breeze, the pulse on the curse mark that was imprinted upon the side of his neck causing his eyebrows to narrow before the pulsing stopped, and a long and slow sarcastic clap echoed throughout the field. He could see a person, no, 2 people looking at him. They must have used the Shushin to get there, or else he would have seen them coming. He opened his eyes and saw Orochimaru and the redhead girl from the forest, dubbed Tayuya. He stood up, immediately ready to attack, but was stopped when Orochimaru raised his hands above his head, chuckling slightly. Ku. I'm not here to fight, Naruto-kun. Orochimaru said smoothly as Tayuya and him approached slowly, seeing as how Naruto didn't stop glaring at them. I want to make you a proposition, he began, making Naruto's Byakugan-enhanced eyes to narrow at the snake Sannin. And what is that? This was good. The boy was actually hearing him out. I doubt you'd have anything to do with seeing as how I killed your groupies, except for her of course. Tayuga shrugged. Because I'm not a complete moron like those guys. The moment I saw the curse mark appear I was out. She explained helpfully, not that Naruto cared in the slightest. What do you want? He asked again, this time a small spark of electricity going across his body, ready to use Godspeed at a moment's notice. Orochimaru chuckled again. An alliance, of course, you see, I want the 3rd Hokage to die, you want the 3rd Hokage to die. I want you to join me so I can increase your training and give you power, and you will be able to kill Itachi in order to satisfy your revenge, he said, grinning like a madman the entire time. We each have what we want. Why don't we help each other? I would never betray my village, Naruto shouted angrily as if he were trying to convince himself. Betray your village or your team? Orochimaru spoke as Naruto immediately froze, making Orochimaru's grin to widen. He had hit the head right on the nail. Besides, you'll be able to complete your dream and kill Itachi Uchiha and avenge your sensei, Shursui Uchiha. Naruto felt his teeth lengthen, the Kyuubi's chakra entering his own chakra pool, and anger on the edge of exploding. Don't you dare put my sensei's name in your filthy mouth, Orochimaru, he shouted. You aren't worthy to speak his name. Orochimaru shrugged. Perhaps, but isn't one of your goals surpassing Shursui of the Flash Step? The man who took down entire Umbu squadrons by himself? I can give you that power, The power of the curse mark is only a taste of what is to come if you accept. He hissed seductively, making Naruto falter before the blonde shook his head. No, I don't want revenge anymore. I just want to protect my friends and be happy. Orochimaru frowned as he rose an eyebrow, straightening his posture. You do realize that Itachi is part of a group that is hunting after you, right? He won't hesitate to kill those who get in their way. That includes your silly little village. Suddenly, the picture of Itachi standing over a decapitated Sakura and a Sasuke whose neck was broken flashed in his mind, causing his eyes to widen, the Byakugan deactivating. Don't you want to protect them from that monster? Don't you want the strength to protect Sasuke and Sakura from any threat? Do you want their deaths to be on your hands? Remember, if you were strong enough, you could have saved Kakashi. Naruto's eyes turned into a bright red as a single vertical line crossed through it, his pupils gone. Shut up, he shouted, clutching his head slightly. If you had the power, then you could have saved Kakashi, and if you had power, Orochimaru was behind Naruto now, his mouth right by the blonde's ear. Then you could have saved Shursui, he whispered as Naruto suddenly collapsed to his knees, unable to hold himself up as he saw Kakashi dying in his head over and over again, as well as Shursui, both being impaled by either Zabuza's blade or Shursui's umbu sword. If you don't wake up and smell the roses, Orochimaru began, standing in front of the blonde, his green eyes looking down at the blonde. Then soon, you will be powerless to stop your friends from dying. And when Itachi triumphs and stands over their corpses, you will be able to do absolutely nothing to stop him. The vision of Konoha on fire, the bodies of his classmates littering the ground, appeared in Naruto's mind as he let out a scream of pain, slamming his forehead onto the ground, a crack appearing, but Orochimaru only smirked. Do you want the strength to protect what you love, Naruto-kun? Orochimaru whispered. Naruto slowly stood up, his eyes holding certain darkness in them. No longer were the Kyuubi eyes in his skull, but his own dark blue. Yes, he whispered. Then will you join me? Naruto paused, but then nodded. Yes. He met Orochimaru's eyes, nothing but pure conviction and pure darkness in them. I will join you. Orochimaru let out a burst of small laughter as he grabbed Naruto's chin, meeting Naruto's eyes. Good, but you'll need to prove it to me. Naruto didn't even question it, he only nodded. What do I need to do? His tone was almost monotone. Orochimaru grinned as he stood straight up again and called Tayuya over. Tayuya-chan will go over the plan with you. For now, train up, you'll need it. And with that, the snake Sannin disappeared from view. Naruto looked at Tayuya, who let out a long and tired sigh before she saluted him. Hey brat though, I guess I should call you Leader-sama from now on since you joined us. Naruto didn't respond, he only looked at her expectantly. Tayuya looked a little nervous before clearing her throat. Okay, so here's what we gotta do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third phase of the Chunin exams, Genmar announced, a small smirk on his face as the crowd cheered. Today we will not be doing one-on-ones but instead a battle royale style of fighting. He looked at a list. Can I get Sakura Haruno, Shino Aburame, and Temari of the Sand in the arena please? Temari, Sakura, and Shino appeared in the middle of the large arena, ready looks on their faces. The last one standing wins, he shouted before he backed up a little bit. Start. The third phase of the exam started rather quickly, with Sakura suddenly bouncing back a few yards to gain distance from her opponents as Shino sent his bugs, each divided into two groups, one set going for Temari and the other going for Sakura. Temari brought out her fan and swung it with all her might, sending Shino's bug flying back towards the Aburame and causing him to fly back as well more than a couple of yards, making him hit the wall, unsettling the dust as he was enveloped in a cloud. Sorry girlie, it's nothing personal, but I'm gonna win, Temari said cockily as she readied her fan. Sakura smiled shyly at her, her now neck-length hair somewhat blowing from the wind created by Temari. Hehehe, she chuckled nervously, rubbing the back of her neck. I was about to say the same thing. Her green eyes narrowed at the sand ninja before she shot her arm out, a small spear forming from her chidori, impaling Temari in the leg, causing the dirty blonde to scream in pain, blood crawling down her leg. Chidori true spear, Sakura shouted as the lightning suddenly increased, spreading across Temari's body before her eyes rolled into the back of her skull, unconscious. Sakura was breathing hard, a smile of happiness on her face. She did it. All her hard work paid off. In the Kage stands, Hokage Dano, the Kazekage said as he glanced at Hiruzen, who was smoking his pipe. That was quite the fight, don't you agree? Hiruzen nodded. Yes, but sadly, neither Kunoichi are the winners, he said as he nodded to the arena, where Sakura suddenly collapsed, several bugs on her neck that had been sapping her chakra the whole time. Shino emerged from the dust-like smokescreen, his hands in his pockets as a bead of sweat trailed down his forehead. The winner is Shino Aburame, Genma announced, causing the crowd to cheer wildly. He then glanced at the list again. Now can Gaara of the Sand, Sasuke Uchiha, Rock Lee, and Naruto Uzumaki come to the arena? All of the genin appeared in the arena, all of the ready except for Naruto or Gaara, looking as if they weren't about to compete. Begin, Genma shouted before jumping away again. Don't hold back, Naruto, Sasuke shouted, a kunai in hand. I've been training a lot this past month. Naruto met Sasuke's eyes and gave him a sad smile, as if knowing something that Sasuke did not. I see, was all Naruto said before he ducked, avoiding Rock Lee, who had flown over the teen's head in an attempt to kick the blonde but had failed. Yes, this will be a good fight, Naruto-san. I wish you the best of luck, Rock Lee shouted as enthusiastically as ever. Naruto met Rock Lee's determined eyes before nodding. I will not disrespect a dedicated shinobi such as yourself and hold back, but I ask the same in return. Lee looked up in the stands and saw Guy, his sensei, nod and give him a thumbs up. Lee nodded. Very well. Allow me to take off my weight. Naruto nodded before jumping, performing a few hand seals and blowing a rather large fireball at Gaara, who had just tried to hit him with a tendril of sand. The fireball was blocked by a large hand of sand, but Naruto didn't mean to try and hit the boy with the fire. He had lightning for him later. Sasuke then engaged the sand ninja in a fight, being quite quick on his feet to avoid the sand that attempted to hit him. Naruto landed on the ground softly and turned his attention back on Lee, who had taken off his weights, which were now in huge dents on the ground, making the blonde's eyes to widen slightly. Good, it seems we can fight seriously this time. Rock Lee only gave Naruto a thumbs up before disappearing from his sight, his speed by far surpassing Naruto's without Godspeed. But Naruto would not use that for his fight. He respected Lee quite a lot, so he would not use the advantage of jutsu that increased his speed. He activated his Byakugan and saw Lee coming from behind him. He jumped into the air and flung several shurikens at the wide-eyed genin, but Lee only caught them with ease, making Naruto smirk. Should have just dodged, he shouted before he made a single hand seal as Lee began to get electrocuted. Tiny seals on the shuriken spitting out lightning that enveloped the older genin. The chakra from the seals ran out and Lee was still standing. Color me impressed, Lee, Naruto said as he took out Zabuza's sword. But you will have to be a bit better than being tough than to beat me. Lee took a deep breath and a swirl of chakra began forming around him, making Naruto look at him with shock. I thought he couldn't use chakra, Naruto said to himself before Lee's eyes opened, a determined look in them once again. Gate of opening. The chakra grew more intense, surrounding the boy. Gate of healing. Gate of life. Gate of pain. Gate of limit. Lee's skin was now red as multiple veins could be seen on his head as he looked at Naruto before disappearing from view once again. But Naruto could not see him with the Byakugan this time. He felt Lee's fist hit him, causing him to fly across the arena at high speeds, making him hit the arena wall so hard that he made a small dent as he fell to the ground, coughing some blood up. What the hell was that? Naruto got out. I didn't know he was going to use fucking hacks. Lightning sparked across the blonde before he instantly appeared in front of Sasuke, touching the boy's back, not wanting to disturb the Uchiha with his fight against Gaara, knowing that the raven-haired teen would need every ounce of focus to beat Gaara. The warm feeling made Naruto groan as he suddenly grinned, the veins around his eyes increasing as his blue eyes shifted into its Sharingan state. He saw Lee coming right behind him and easily backed up, his speed just barely inferior to Lee's, but now he could see the genin. Sorry, Lee, but I won't be getting hit again. Naruto slammed his fist into Lee's abdomen before he spun and hit Lee in the face with the back of his foot. He then made an electric current go faster around his hand before it began vibrating. He stuck his hand in the ground as it quickly opened up, the cracks reaching Lee almost instantly before the two genin engaged each other in a fight, the crowd not being able to catch up, even making the Kazekage and the Hokage have trouble watching them. I didn't know the leaf had such monsters, the Kazekage said in awe. It's surprising, Hiruzen nodded, looking at Naruto as he did. Monsters indeed, he said before taking another smoke from his pipe as they continued to watch the fight. Sasuke ducked under a sand bullet as he got closer to Gaara, who narrowed his eyes at the Uchiha, trying his best to crush the annoying Uchiha, his real target in another fight. Sasuke smirked as he clutched his wrist. An advanced form of the Chidori, which he dubbed Rikiri, appeared in his hand. Naruto saw from the corner of his eyes as Sasuke got just a tad bit too close to Gaara with the Rikiri and instantly kneed Lee in the stomach and touched Lee on the back, a small seal appearing before Lee suddenly fell to the ground, unable to move as electricity coursed throughout his entire body. Naruto appeared right beside Sasuke and delivered a quick kick to the Uchiha's temple, knocking him unconscious and sending him flying. Rock Lee and Sasuke Uchiha are unable to continue, Genma announced as he quickly recovered both Leaf Ninja's bodies, making sure to deactivate the seal on Lee's back before touching the boy. Mother has wanted to kill you for a long time, Namikaze. Naruto grinned at the name. Thank you for recognizing my real name, Gaara. Some people can't handle it, he said, a bit of spite in his voice as he glanced at Genma, who only chuckled nervously and then glaring at the Hokage, meeting a stoic gaze in return. Die, Namikaze, Gaara shouted as he sent his sand forward, only for Naruto to tap the redhead on the shoulder and slice the boy's forehead. A small scratch appearing on Gaara's forehead, a few droplets of blood coming out of the wound. What is this? Gaara shouted as he touched his forehead, seeing the red liquid that was his blood on his fingertips. Is this my blood? My blood! My blood! He shouted before he began shifting into a partial possession, making Naruto smirk and meet the Kazekage's gaze, getting a nod in return. A few feathers fell too from the sky as a genjutsu was suddenly cast upon the whole stadium. The invasion had begun. Chapter 20. Past Words. Naruto, who saw a partially transformed Gaara escape from the village with the help of his siblings, let out a sigh before he quickly went to the infirmary and saw Sasuke sitting up, a bandage wrapped around his head. Sasuke saw Naruto and gave him a mock glare. You didn't have to kick me so hard, he hissed, getting Naruto to smile at him. He'd missed that. Sasuke, the village is under attack. You and Rock Lee are gonna go stop Gaara from escaping, he said frantically, getting Sasuke to suddenly stand up straight as Lee also got up. We must stop them from hurting the innocent, Rock Lee shouted, a single bandage on his cheek. Sasuke looked at Naruto strangely. What are you going to do? Naruto glanced up at the ceiling. I have to go protect Hokage-sama. When I'm done with that, I'll come and help you both. Okay? Sasuke nodded. Gotcha. I'll see you soon, he said with a small smirk as he rushed out, leaving Naruto alone, his hair shadowing his eyes, a single tear crawling down his face. No, you won't, he whispered before he formed a single hand sign as he appeared next to Orochimaru on top of a roof inside a purple barrier where Hiruzen stood. Naruto, how'd you get in here? Hiruzen asked, obviously shocked how a genin got inside a barrier that even his Umbu couldn't. Naruto leaped away from Orochimaru, a kunai in his hand as he appeared in front of the Hokage, baring his teeth. I can't allow you to kill him, Orochimaru. Orochimaru grinned like a madman. Don't get in my way, he hissed. Hiruzen looked at Naruto with soft eyes. Naruto, I'm sorry, he whispered. I've treated you poorly. Naruto's eyes widened momentarily before they hardened. Not that Hiruzen saw. Get out of my way, genin, Orochimaru hissed. Don't make me kill you. Naruto shook his head. You aren't going to kill the old man, he shouted again, Kyuubi's chakra leaking out as lightning appeared across his skin with so much intensity that it practically covered the teen. He'd been working on his speed all month for this moment. The only one that will kill the old man. Naruto spun around at the speed that Hiruzen couldn't detect, a kunai in hand as the blade slid across the old man's throat. Will be me. Hiruzen collapsed the ground, clutching his bleeding throat, his jugular sliced in half, a fatal blow. Why? He whispered, questioning Minato's son. Why did you betray the village? You can't betray something that you were never loyal to, trash. Besides, this was a long time coming. Hiruzen's eyes widened. Flashback. I will not allow you to adopt that boy, and that is final, he barked. Am I clear? Kakashi grimaced under the Hokage's stare and nodded. Crystal, he said in between gritted teeth. But the moment he goes ballistic, the very second he decides to cut this village down, it will be your fault because you let him get like that. He whispered venomously. Leave, Hiruzen roared, his pipe now on the ground as he glared freely at Kakashi, who only gave him a mock bow before leaving. Flashback end. I see, was all Hiruzen whispered before the light faded from his eyes, dead. Orochimaru clasped the boy on the shoulder, licking his lips as a grin appeared on his face. Good, now we have to go. Naruto shook his head. No, I have to go beat Gaara first, then I'll go to the meeting point. Orochimaru let out a long sigh but nodded, pinching the bridge of his nose. Very well, feel free to use the curse mark. Naruto nodded. I was planning on it. He then disappeared in a flash of lightning, causing Orochimaru to grin. He's faster than his father. He then made a few hand signs and slammed his hand onto the ground, a large snake appearing, looking at Orochimaru, awaiting orders. Deal with the trash that follows me. Don't let any of them live. The snake hissed in agreement as the purple barrier disappeared in an instant as Orochimaru dashed away, not wanting to deal with the pest that was Umbu. Naruto appeared in front of Sasuke, a Chidori in hand as he sliced through the sand that threatened his comrade, glaring at Gaara as markings appeared across his face, a smirk on his face. Naruto, Sasuke said in surprise. That was fast. Naruto nodded. Yes, I finished my mission rather quickly and got here as fast as I could. Sasuke nodded as Rock Lee appeared next to Naruto, breathing rather heavily. I have exhausted myself to the limit, Naruto-san. Our fight has drained me a lot more than I'd like to admit, Lee said enthusiastically. Naruto patted Lee on the shoulder. You both can rest now. I can handle Gaara now. Sasuke was about to protest, but Naruto met his gaze firmly, causing him to stop. Reserve your strength, you will need it for later. Sasuke dealt with his inner struggle for a nanosecond and nodded. If you die, I'll kill you. Naruto closed his eyes and grinned, rubbing the back of his neck. The only person who's actually threatened here is your ego. Ass. Bitch. Naruto then plucked Sasuke's forehead, causing his eyes to widen, the action reminding him of Itachi a tad bit too much. Naruto appeared in front of Gaara. His fist was completely red, filled with the Kyuubi's chakra. Snap out of it before I snap your neck, he shouted as he punched Gaara in the face so hard that the redhead was sent flying through several trees before landing on the ground, beaten rather easily. Naruto approached Gaara, kunai in hand as he looked at the sand ninja with pity. How are why you so strong? Gaara whispered. Naruto met Gaara's gaze, which was filled with confusement and questions. I sacrifice everything I know to protect those I love, and in return, I gain strength. True strength is gained whenever you have something you love, something or someone you'd give everything you have to protect. That's why I'm strong, Gaara nodded. I see, he whispered. Can I get that strong one day? Naruto nodded. Anyone could, with the right motivations, he answered honestly. Gaara closed his eyes, tears streaming from his face. I understand. Thank you, Naruto Namikaze. Suddenly, two figures, which Naruto identified as Kankuro and Temari, Gaara's siblings. Take him and run, and this time don't act so afraid. He just needs love, Naruto whispered. Don't let him become someone like me. They nodded before running off. Naruto smiled sadly as clouds began to cover the bright sky, turning the area gray. He ran towards Sasuke, who was sitting next to Lee, who was talking Sasuke's ears off. Not that Sasuke minded. When he saw Naruto, he perked up. Did you beat him? Naruto nodded. I did. I made him see the light again too. Sasuke grinned at Naruto. Show off. He stood up, his knees just a tad bit wobbly. Naruto then saw a squadron of Umbu rushing to their position, Yugao leading them, her dark eyes glaring when she got sight of him. They landed a couple of yards away from him, their weapons brandished. Naruto Uzumaki, you are under arrest for the murder of the third Hokage, Yugao shouted angrily. Sasuke looked at Naruto with horror. Naruto would never dash. Don't you mean Namikaze? I mean, that's my last name. Get it right, Yuzuki. Yugao narrowed her eyes at the teen in front of her. Tell me it isn't true. Tell me it isn't true, Sasuke shouted. Naruto grinned sheepishly. Yep, I killed that bastard. He deserved it. He turned around and began walking. I'll be joining Orochimaru now, see ya, Sasuke. Don't die. You think we'll let you leave? Yugao asked darkly. Naruto let out a burst of laughter that was genuinely filled with amusement. I killed your Hokage. You think a mere squad of Umbu can take me down? He asked rhetorically, his wrist cracking as he twisted it. Please try. He met Yugao's eyes and his Shari-Byakugan spun wildly. Naruto, Sasuke began, shaking uncontrollably. You were my brother. How could you do this to me? To us? We were your family. Did we mean nothing to you? Naruto met Sasuke's now fully matured Sharingan. 3 commas now were in Sasuke's eyes. No, you didn't mean nothing, you were both stepping stools. You see, I desire power. Orochimaru has offered me power, I took it, and in return I killed that old man. Problems? How could you? Sasuke shouted, outrage evident in his voice. Isn't it obvious? Naruto said darkly as he turned back around. I'm a demon. I wanted to do it. I want power, I want to kill Itachi. I want to go to Orochimaru. I want for you to leave me alone and sit like the pawn you are. Are we done here? Hardly, Yugao stated as she appeared above Naruto, sword in hand as she was ready to slice the teen in half, but missed as Naruto disappeared from view and reappeared right next to her, stabbing her in the spine and wrapping his arm around her throat, a dangerous look in his eyes. I think we are you, dumb whore. Yugao's eyes widened before Naruto twisted suddenly, breaking her neck as she fell to the ground from the tree, landing with a thump on the grass. Senpai, one of the Umbu shouted in rage as they all charged Naruto, only for a burst of lightning to appear in the middle of the group as blood suddenly came out of their throats, blood spraying the area, including Naruto who was now covered in their blood, a twisted smile on his face. Idiots, all of them. He began walking away, only to stop as he heard the sparking of lightning right behind his heart, a reluctant Sasuke behind him, pointing the Chidori at Naruto. Please, don't make me do this. Don't turn into another Itachi. Sasuke shouted, tears streaming down his face. Trust me, I won't. He suddenly swept Sasuke's feet from out from under him, grabbing the teen's wrist and holding a kunai to Sasuke's throat. I don't leave loose ends, he whispered darkly, making Sasuke's eyes widen before they narrowed. Do it then? Naruto hesitated, but suddenly dropped Sasuke as he dodged a kick from Lee, who was glaring at the blonde. This is not youthful, Naruto-san, he shouted. Naruto shook his head. You guys aren't worth it. Pass this message, won't ya? If anyone gets in my way of gaining power, I'll kill them. And with that, Lee and Sasuke saw nothing but black as Naruto knocked them out and set them gently against a tree. I'm sorry, Sasuke, he whispered as he turned around and began walking away. Why? He heard a female voice ring out, making him freeze in his footsteps. It was Sakura. Why? She asked again, tears streaming down her face. I don't have to explain myself to a clanless loser like you, Sakura, he whispered venomously, his fist shaking uncontrollably. Just go away before I decide to knock you out too, he shouted, causing the pinkette to flinch. I thought we had a connection. I thought Naruto cut her off. That's your problem, Sakura. You thought that's the problem, you think too much. You just need to actually see instead of thinking what you want to see. I'm leaving. Don't die until you get strong enough to kill the current me. And he then disappeared in a flash of lightning, leaving Sakura alone, who then lost all of her strength to stand. Don't leave me, she whispered. Naruto appeared in a flash next to Tayuya, the leaves of the trees blowing from the momentum he carried, startling the red-headed girl a little bit. There was a man with white hair and 2 dots on his forehead there as well, but no Orochimaru. Where is Sensei? He asked. My name is Kimimaro and Orochimaru-sama is in the village in Rice Country. He held out a large pill. Take this, it'll evolve your curse seal to its level 2 state. Naruto nodded and popped the pill in his mouth and swallowed it before he started sweating. Kimimaro picked him up and placed him in a barrel and closed the lid and put the barrel on his back, coughing a little bit. Come on, Tayuya, we must deliver it Naruto-sama to the village as quickly as possible. Tayuya nodded as they began running towards Rice Country. Naruto opened his eyes as he found himself stuck in a barrel. Getting a tad bit annoyed, he stretched and the wooden barrel exploded into thousands of little pieces, where Orochimaru sat on a throne-like chair in front of him. Welcome back from the dead. It took 3 whole weeks for you to reach the second stage of the curse mark due to the Kyuubi's influence. Orochimaru had to change bodies between that time period, frustrating him to no end, but now he could train Naruto and get his future vessel to become optimal. Good. One of Naruto's eyes were completely yellow due to the influence of the curse mark. Now, when do we start training? Orochimaru's eyes flickered with amusement as he stood up. Right now. Chapter 21, The Future. Naruto, a tall blonde-haired boy with dark blue eyes, dressed in a simple gray tunic with a collar that framed his face with a small zipper going down that led to his collarbone, it currently being zipped up. He had on a pair of black pants with a dark blue cloak wrapped around his waist with a light purple rope, a sword strapped to his lower back. He was currently on top of several rocks that had been put on top of each other. The slightest movement would trigger the small tower of rocks to collapse. Naruto-sama, Kabuto shouted. You've been summoned by Orochimaru-sama? Naruto nodded as he rolled forward, falling several feet before landing on his feet, the rocks toppling over behind him. I'll be there in a minute, he spoke in return. 3 years. It's been 3 years since he's killed the Hokage. 3 years since he betrayed the leaf. 3 years since he betrayed Kakashi's and Shirsue's teachings. 3 years away from Sasuke and Sakura. But he would tolerate that pain that threatened to bubble in his chest, shoving it down with all his might and bottling it up. He'd unleash it sooner or later, but not now, not here. He walked into the base, down the winding twists and turns before he saw a sickly-looking Orochimaru looking at him with predatory eyes. Yes, sensei? Orochimaru gave a low chuckle before it turned into a raspy cough, his hand being stained with blood. He grimaced at the sight of his own blood and wiped it on a rag and met Naruto's dark blue eyes, his light green eyes shining through the darkness of the room. It's that time, he began. Naruto nodded, his shoulders sagging as he walked a few feet back and got on his knees, bowing his head. Yes, please, use my body to kill Itachi Uchiha, he began, closing his eyes as he felt no one nearby, making his stoic lips turn upwards just a bit. Is what you thought I'd say? Orochimaru's eyes widened as Naruto used one of Sakura's moves, Chidori True Spear. The spear of lightning had pierced right next to Orochimaru's heart, his eyes holding just a bit of fear in them. Naruto stood up as he walked towards the snake Sannin. You should have seen this happening, sensei, he began, cocking his head to the side. I mean, I still have a couple of decades in me. I won't surrender to a pitiful specimen such as yourself. Besides, you couldn't have taught me much more than what you have. I've taken everything from you, and now I will take your life. Such arrogance. Orochimaru cooed as a large face, much bigger than what could possibly have fit inside his body. A large body made of hundreds of white snakes, the whole body being at the very least 15 feet long. Let me show you true power. I always knew you were trash, Naruto commented, closing his eyes as Orochimaru's true form rushed him. But his eyes opened suddenly, the veins around his eyes suddenly pouncing out as a Sharingan formed in his eyes as he looked into Orochimaru's eyes, causing the literal snake-like man to stop in his tracks. Calmly, Naruto walked forward and placed a hand on the head of the snake Sannin, and his teeth shined in a smirk. I've read your research, Orochimaru, and now, I believe I'll be absorbing and keeping your power if you don't mind. Orochimaru suddenly glowed a bright strange light before Naruto's hand glowed the same light before Orochimaru disappeared. Naruto faltered a little bit, holding his head a little bit before nodding, sure that it was him still. He walked out the door and saw Kabuto looking at him with surprise. Which one are you? Naruto grinned ferally at the medic, motioning for him to follow him. Come on, you'll be useful in hunting down that bastard, but we're going to need to track down 3 more people. Kabuto's eyes widened, pushing his glasses further onto his face. Orochimaru-sama? He asked in a skeptical tone. Naruto shook his head. I would not lose to a man who wished to achieve something that only a god could. Instead, I've taken everything from him, including his soul. Orochimaru and I, well, you could say we are one of the same as of now, but I'm holding the reins. You mean you reversed the technique? Naruto nodded. Amazing, Kabuto whispered breathlessly. To do such a thing against one of the Sannin. Naruto rolled his eyes. Orochimaru knew I was stronger than him a year ago. He hid it well. The moment I mastered the Shiribyakugan was the moment I could beat him. Kabuto accepted Naruto's answer, not wanting to bug the teen who was ready to kill if necessary. Well, who do you have in mind? Karen Uzumaki, a distant relative of mine, Suigetsu Hozuki, one of your experiments, and Yugo of the curse mark, the origin. Kabuto's eyes widened at the last one. Why Yugo? He's unstable and no one could control him since Kimimara's death. Not even Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto protested but was silenced by a quick glare from Naruto. His brute strength is reliable, and he can deal with the likes of Kisame Hashigaki, along with Suigetsu. He answered. Now be quiet or go back to the base. This will the only time I'll let you out of my ragtag group alive unless things go sideways. Kabuto rose his hands in the air, surrendering. No, I wish to follow Orochimaru-sama's successor. It is my duty. Hours later, they arrived at the base, where Naruto released Suigetsu, who was trapped in a tank of water. Suigetsu suddenly stood behind Kabuto and Naruto, his fingers pointing out at each of their heads, a grin on his face as he showed his sharp teeth. He was slightly shorter than Naruto with long white hair that reached to the back of his neck, his purple eyes glowing slightly in the darkened room. Why are you two here? He hissed. Orochimaru send ya to end me finally? Orochimaru is dead. Naruto spoke calmly. What makes you sure I won't blast ya and run off? Because the moment you can even think of forming a jutsu, you'll be dead. Naruto answered calmly again, getting Suigetsu to take a few steps back in surprise. Whoa, you're not playing. Your heartbeat was steady the whole time. Orochimaru's actually dead, huh? Sweet. Who was the lucky bastard? Naruto turned around. I killed him earlier today. He tried to take my body, so in return, I took his power and soul. Suigetsu's eyes widened as he looked at Naruto skeptically. A shrimp like you? There's no way. Kabuto spoke up. He is not lying. This is Orochimaru's determined vessel before he died. Orochimaru was weak, but Naruto-sama easily beat him. So he was weak. Then that means that it was luck. Suigetsu got out, shrugging as a smirk appeared on his face. I don't know what that means for me, but dash. I don't believe in such petty things like luck. Naruto whispered in Suigetsu's ear, behind the boy back to back now. Luck is something that people can't accept responsibility for their own reality. Oh. Suigetsu got out, swallowing the spit in his mouth. So maybe not luck then. What do you want from me? I want you to join my group in order to take down 2 S-rank criminals. Suigetsu shrugged. That's a no from me. I don't do things for free. Besides, I got a hunt to start. I'm grateful for the prison break, but I ain't no follower. Naruto nodded, taking a small scroll from his pocket and unsealing it, revealing Zabuza's old sword. That's fine. I guess I can give this to someone else. Suigetsu's eyes sparkled as he lunged for it, only for Naruto to hold it in the air, his eyebrow shifting up a bit. That's my birthright. Give it to me. Suigetsu whined childishly. Only if you agree to come with us. One of the targets is Kisame Hashigaki, and he has another sword like this one. Suigetsu looked as if he was actually thinking about it, but eagerly nodded as he grabbed the sword from Naruto's hand, wielding it with ease. Good, but just because you got the last shot in on Orochimaru doesn't mean I'll follow your every command. I'll help you take down these 2 S-ranks, but after that, we're through, Suigetsu said with narrowed eyes, still admiring the sword. Agreed, though one of those S-ranks is only for me to kill. You 4 can get the other. Suigetsu perked up at that. 4. Chapter 22. Appearances. Karen. Naruto began as he turned to the girl. Please stop arguing with the water boy, he said sternly, getting the girl to grin sheepishly as she shut up. Suigetsu. Quit fucking with her. Suigetsu rolled his eyes. Whatever, you're not my boss. Yugo glanced at Suigetsu, his red-orange eyes filled with doubt at the light-haired boy. Yes, he is. Yugo charged Naruto, half of his body gray. One of his eyes were yellow, his face breaking into a grin. Naruto, watch out! Karen shouted, but Naruto did no such thing. He just simply met Yugo's murderous gaze, getting him to stop in his place. Die, Yugo whispered, confused. You will calm down. I have no use for tools that cannot control themselves, he said, not even flinching at the sight of the orange-haired man towering over him. Karen and Suigetsu bristled at the word tools, but ignored it for now. I am sorry. Yugo got out as he reverted back to his calm state. What exactly are we doing? Karen asked in an annoyed tone. Naruto held up his hand, closing his eyes as the veins around his eyes bulged as he opened his eyes, the Byakugan shining brightly. A single mile away, a crow was perched upon a branch, a single Sharingan in one of its eyes. Tied to its foot was a single parchment of paper that was rolled up. His eyes narrowed as he motioned for the team to go forward. We are to distract a man named Kisame Hashigaki, Kabuto answered helpfully. Karen looked at him with bewildered eyes. The tailless beast? The one who murdered the Miss Daimyo? Why? She practically yelled, looking at Naruto for answers, but received none, only silence permeating around the blonde shinobi, his eyes never leaving the crow. He knew it was Itachi, not the crow, but the message. Itachi knew this would happen, and had gotten ready. Hey! Come on! Stop leaving us hanging, Naruto, Suigetsu protested as he suddenly stopped running. I know we are to fight another Akatsuki member while you fight the other alone, but why? What's the point in picking a fight and gathering all of us to do this? He yelled. Naruto stopped running and turned around, facing the small group of 4, each one having questions except for Kabuto, who was content with following his master's orders. Around a decade or so ago, Itachi Uchiha single-handedly demolished the Uchiha clan except for one, traumatizing one of my old friends, Sasuke Uchiha. One of the people he killed was none other than Shursui Uchiha, my sensei and the closest thing I've ever had for a parent. I was forced to watch that over and over again, and for that, he will pay. He wouldn't tell them about wanting to prevent Itachi from destroying his friends in Konoha, for that would make him look weak. And he could not be weak. So why us? Karen asked. Naruto rolled his eyes. Suigetsu, your ability to turn into water is quite useful. You are also an adept sword user and were the second coming demon of the hidden mist. Karen, your ability to sense chakra from miles upon miles from my Byakugan's ability is impressive and I need you to detect threats, plus you're a medic. Yugo, when you tap into your almost literal inner demon, you become a true force to be reckoned with. Your brute strength far outmatches mine, and you can probably beat Kisame Hashigaki by yourself if you go all out. He then glanced at Kabuto. You only follow me because to you I'm Orochimaru the sequel. Kabuto nodded, a small smile on his face, giving everyone the creeps besides Naruto, knowing the older man quite well. So after this, we're done? That's it? A one-time deal? Yugo asked quietly, making Naruto raise his eyebrow. Any of you are free to stick around me after we're done with this. I just need to do this, and I'm the closest than I've ever been. Naruto whispered as he turned back around and began running. The group followed him, no longer asking questions or speaking, the pure determination radiating off of Naruto, silencing them all. Naruto stopped as he hurriedly grabbed the paper off the crow, which immediately disappeared, and read it, his eyes scanning the scroll. HM, it was either you or Sasuke who would come and fight me. I've always wondered who it'd be. Itachi spoke as he appeared from behind a tree, startling everyone with his presence, instantly getting them on guard. I even considered the option that you two would work together, but I see only you and your ragtag team as come to face me. Naruto shook his head. Only me, you bastard, he growled, his Byaku Sharingan glaring at the man who he had kindled a hatred since he was 6. The rest is to deal with your fucking shark. Itachi rose an eyebrow and shrugged. It was only a matter of time, I suppose. Meet me 5 miles away from here north. There's an Uchiha hideout there. We will do this final battle there, he said before disappearing in a flock of crows, getting everyone to relax slightly. What did the scroll say? Kabuto asked curiously, getting everyone to nod as well. I am also curious, Yugo spoke, looking at Naruto expectantly. Naruto sighed as he tossed the scroll to Karen, who opened it. It's blank, she spoke in a confused manner. There's nothing on it. Naruto nodded. I fell for the bait. Itachi knew I'd take it too. He's too damn clever. He cursed as he turned north, the battle of his life in that direction. Come on. They were ready to take off, but Karen suddenly froze as she turned in the opposite direction. Naruto, she yelled, getting Naruto to look at her in a confused manner. What? She pointed in the direction she was facing, worry spreading across her face. There are 8 different chakra signatures coming this way rapidly. Some are bigger than the others. Naruto cursed as he turned back to the direction of Itachi. It's so close, he spoke softly. Kukuku, A familiar voice spoke up. What will you do now, Naruto-kun? Naruto turned to the voice and saw Orochimaru leaning on a tree, his bright green eyes meeting Naruto's dark blue. Judging by everyone else's reaction or lack thereof, he was the only one who was able to see him. Genjutsu? He asked, his eyes narrowed. Orochimaru shook his head. Just trapped in your subconscious, the usual. Biding my time to get out. Naruto shook his head. He was seeing things. He didn't see Orochimaru by the tree and sighed. Naruto. He heard a loud shout come from a familiar, yet older voice as his heart dropped. He turned to see two new members for Team 7, one of them being the old proctor from the Chunin exams, Genma, and the other he did not know. In front of him stood Sasuke, Sakura, Ganma, a weird pale boy with a weirder haircut, Asuma, Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino. Oh, hey guys. He greeted normally. Suigetsu glanced at Naruto. You know these guys? Naruto shrugged. Old village, killed their Hokage when I was 13, was quite a ride. Wasn't it, Sasuke? He met the Uchiha's eyes, which were in their Sharingan form, glaring at the blonde. Come back to the village, he shouted. Naruto actually laughed. That's a no for me. Even if I wanted to, I killed the third. They would rather put my head on a pike instead of welcoming me with open arms. He met Asuma's eyes. Isn't that right, Asuma? You brat, he hissed venomously. How dare you just mention the greatest crime of our generation as if it were nothing? Naruto shrugged. Because it was nothing. Not to me anyway. He grinned. Remember, I killed the Hokage, betrayed the village, killed my sensei and her Umbu squad. I'm the lowest of the low, right? He asked. Kakashi would be disappointed in you, Asuma spoke. Naruto, Sakura whispered, her eyes also glaring at the boy. You betrayed us. Naruto rolled his eyes. I don't care. Good luck. He looked at his team, which were all ready to fight. New plans. Hold them off while I fight Itachi. Sasuke glared at Naruto murderously. You think you can just walk away? I don't care if Itachi is close by. You are facing me right here and right now. He practically screamed. Sasuke. Naruto spoke, his own Sharingan activated. Please, shut the hell up. He slowly took the sword out of his scabbard. Naruto, what do we do? Suigetsu shouted. Naruto let out a soft sigh before he glared at the team sent by Konoha. Cripple but do not kill. A crippled shinobi lives in agony than in death. He whispered as lightning began to cross his skin. But leave the black-haired one and the pink-haired one to me. I have some old business to take care of. He disappeared in a flash and grabbed both Sakura and Sasuke before disappearing from the view of the others. Capture them alive, we have to interrogate them. Genma ordered as took out a sword, making Suigetsu grin. You ready, Yugo? He asked, brandishing his sword. The man nodded, determined at his skin tone began to change colors. Yes, let's help Naruto out. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura appeared in a small clearing, where Naruto simply ducked under a punch from Sakura, who was glaring at him with her shining emerald eyes. Face punishment, Naruto, she screamed angrily. You wouldn't understand, he commented as he tripped the pinkette and sprung into the air, spinning as he wrapped his legs around Sasuke's neck and flung him into the ground. Neither of you would. Then make us understand, Sasuke snarled, wiping the dust off of his Uchiha-branded clothing. I didn't have a choice, Naruto spoke in a dead monotone, making Sasuke's Sharingan eyes narrow even further. You had a choice, you just won't admit it. He rushed Naruto, a Chidori in hand. Naruto sighed before he flicked his finger, the electricity disappearing from Sasuke's hand, making the Uchiha look at him with shock before Naruto planted his knee into Sasuke's abdomen before jumping in the air, flipping as he blew a fireball at Sakura, who had tried to punch him again. The pinkette dodged it, the flames singeing her clothing a bit, but otherwise it wasn't harmful. She made a few hand signs and held her arm up, a quick lightning bolt shooting out of her arm and at Naruto, hitting him in the shoulder at lightning speed. Naruto hissed in pain as he clutched his now badly bleeding shoulder. I can't get a fucking break, can I? He muttered as he met Sasuke's blade with his own, the two clashing rather viciously, both being equals in terms of swordsmanship. Never! Sasuke shouted as he tried to kick Naruto, who blocked it with his shin before twirling and hitting Sasuke in the torso with the blunt end of the blade. making Sasuke grunt in pain before Naruto's hand sparked blue as he suddenly charged forward, intending on hitting the Uchiha's shoulder, but was stopped when Sakura re-engaged him, barely tapping him on the shoulder, but it was enough to send him flying across the plains, dirting his clothing and hair while also giving him a nasty bruise. "Sasuke, we have to fight to kill, otherwise we won't win." Sakura spoke loudly, her eyes never leaving Naruto. Sasuke shook his head. "Why should we fight to kill when he won't do the same? He just tried to kill you." She tried to reason, but he shook his head, some dirt falling out of his black locks of hair. "No, he didn't. He hasn't used God's speed yet. He's aiming to put us out, not to kill." Sakura's eyes widened at the revelation. "That can change," Naruto whispered from behind the two, lighting glittering across his body as he swipes in the air, several ice needles forming in the air and impaling Sakura and Sasuke. "What? I thought he could only use 2 at a time," Sasuke shouted in pain. Naruto chuckled as he looked at his fallen teammates. "I've grown quite powerful, Sasuke, Sakura. During my training with some experimentation, I realized that I could use ice release again. It was quite useful. I've honed my bloodline down and have perfected lightning jutsu." He bent down, a needle of ice in each hand. Neither Sasuke nor Sakura could move. "If it helps, I won't kill you. I can't say the same thing for the others though. I don't actually care if they die." Sakura's eyes widened. "So you care about us? Why?" He shook his head, chuckling as he bent down on his knees to meet both of their eyes. "Watching 2 people you tricked into trusting you is funny, especially when they suffer." He suddenly sent out a burst of killing intent. "And I want you both to suffer. The only way that'll ever end is for you to forget about me. So I'd get on that if I were you." He suddenly stabbed them in the neck with the needles in his hand, knocking them unconscious. "I'm sorry," he whispered before disappearing in a bolt of lightning. "Geez, 2 Jounin and Fortunin are hard as hell to beat," Suigetsu cursed as he dodged another one of Shikamaru's shadow attacks. "You're telling me," Kabuto shouted in return, fighting Genma with his chakra scalpels. "Die!" a maddened Yugo shouted as he hit Asuma with a punch to the face, knocking the Sarutobi to the ground. However, Karen stayed back, not having any fighting experience. She'd just be a nuisance to the whole situation. A bolt of lightning appeared in the middle of the fighting, stopping everyone in their tracks as they saw an angry Naruto, lightning dancing across his body furiously, his hair standing straight up as his Byaku Sharingan scanned the area. "You all did good. Leave the rest to me." And with inhuman speeds, Naruto disappeared and immediately knocked everyone out and stabbed each one with a kunai at the bottom on their spines, hopefully paralyzing them for life. "What the hell?" Suigetsu complained. "I wanted to beat at least one of them." Naruto glanced at a beaten Ino, a slash of a sword across her back, and pointed at her. "You beat her." "She doesn't count," Suigetsu shouted. "She was basically fodder." Naruto smirked. "So nothing has changed, how dull," he commented before sitting down. "Kabuto, can you heal me? I wish to be in peak condition to fight Itachi." Kabuto nodded as he rushed to his master. "Of course, Naruto-sama. Just give me a few minutes." Naruto nodded before he heard laughter again. "It seems Kabuto has taken quite the liking to you," Orochimaru purred in Naruto's ear. "He was always so frightful and scared of me that it dulled his personality. I like seeing him grow." Naruto ignored the voice, focusing on the battle to come. "You know, I've come to genuinely enjoy your presence, Naruto. You seem to have everything in order, except for one thing." Once again, Naruto didn't respond. "Just a vision, just a vision, just a vision." "You can't beat Itachi Uchiha," Orochimaru basically shouted loudly into Naruto's ear. "He beat me when he was 15, that was 8 years ago. He has only gotten stronger." Once again ignored. "You'll need my help. Let me help you, Naruto. I gave you power before. I can give it to you again." "Shut the hell up," Naruto shouted, causing everyone to freeze. He suddenly noticed the awkward glances at him and apologized quickly before standing up, taking off his ruined cloak-like shirt, revealing toned tan skin that Karen almost nose-bled to. "Come on, we're close. Let's go kill these fuckers," Naruto stated as he went north. The final battle was coming. Chapter 23, Uzumaki vs. Uchiha. "You 4 stay, only he passes." Kisame stated as he pointed at Naruto, who dismissed the man with a glance before walking past the shark-like Akatsuki member. Kisame, he began, now past the man. Don't worry, I won't kill your little friends, though it looks like you brought them here to take me down, Kisame said with a vicious grin. I'm flattered. I just might take you up on your offer. If I find out you touch a single hair on their heads. He turned his head just slightly, his Sharingan spinning wildly out of control. I'll take yours. And with that, he disappeared. Huh. The kid has an edge, doesn't he? Karen blushed a little. He sure does. Kabuto looked at her weirdly. Incest is wrong. Right? Karen sputtered and kicked the medic in his shin. It's not like that. Besides, we're not really related in the slightest. Suigetsu's eyes narrowed as he grinned. That kinda sounded like a confession to me, Karen. He only got a fist to the face as a response. Naruto walked through the thick stone doors and entered the building, jumping past a small flight of stairs and saw Itachi sitting on a throne-like chair, gazing lazily at him, only for Naruto to glare in return. I'm here to kill you, Itachi, Naruto growled. Though I guess that's just stating the obvious. Itachi nodded. Yes, I've been waiting for you to fulfill your promise on that day, he said, his Sharingan piercing Naruto's own. I've relished the thought of beating you when you were at the peak of your power, just to tear down what Shursui had done. You don't deserve to speak his name? Naruto growled out, the veins around his eyes popping out as his Sharingan turned to a lighter red. Oh, is that the Byakugan? It seems you have developed your bloodline as I have mine. Naruto nodded. Yes, and now I can see through all of your Genjutsu. I've had 3 years to master the Sharingan, Byakugan, and the ice release that I've been given. I now surpass every single Uchiha, Hyuga, and Yuki with their bloodlines. Itachi didn't seem surprised. If anything, he seemed more interested and excited. Ah, every Uchiha? But you haven't even unlocked the advanced version. Have you? Naruto's eyes widened as Itachi's eyes shifted into its unknown state. He had seen this before, but he thought it was his imagination. What is this? Naruto asked angrily. This is the power of the Manjiku Sharingan, an evolved version of the Sharingan you currently possess. There is only one way to obtain these eyes. He began as he stood up, no longer feeling the need to sit. And that's to kill your best friend, which was Shursui for me. You killed Shursui, Naruto began. For power. Itachi gave him a simple nod as Naruto rushed him, his sword out and twirling with lightning. Itachi blocked the sword strike with a kunai as he tried kicking Naruto, but the teen Sharingan saw it coming as he jumped in the air, forming several hand seals and blew a fireball at the Uchiha, who easily evaded it by jumping back. Sloppy, Itachi commented as he met Naruto's sword with his kunai once again. I'll show you sloppy, Naruto shouted in return before lightning scattered across his body and he disappeared from view, an enhanced version of Chidori, now dubbed Raikiri, in his hand as he tried to pierce Itachi's body from behind, only to fail as the man enveloped himself in some weird orange armor that seemed to be made of chakra, it resembling a rib cage of some sort. I didn't think I'd need to pull this out so soon, Itachi commented. This Susanoo, my trump card. He turned to Naruto, the orange chakra disappearing. And it isn't even fully formed yet. Naruto's eyes widened. This thing blocked his Raikiri so easily, he hadn't even cracked it, and to say it wasn't at its full potential. I'm weak compared to you when you have those eyes. Everything I throw at you is useless, Naruto said as he sheathed his sword. So I guess my only option is to… A smirk placed itself on his lips. To copy your Sharingan. Naruto rushed Itachi before he could put the Susanoo back up, and grabbed a hold of the man's shoulder. The familiar heat he hadn't felt in 3 years soaring through his system before he jumped back. His Sharingan now morphed into a sort of whirlpool, a single comma on each line. This could be bad, Itachi whispered to himself as Naruto grinned as he met Itachi's eyes. Allow me to use your powers against you. Blood poured down Naruto's cheek in excess amounts as black flames shot towards Itachi, whose right eye turned bloodshot as his own black flames shot out. Amaterasu! They shouted in unison as the black flames crashed against each other with equal intensity, their eyes bleeding profusely as they grit their teeth from the strain their eyes felt. But Naruto's face twisted in a mad grin as his black flames suddenly grew more powerful, overcoming Itachi's black flames before it touched his cloak, setting it aflame. He quickly threw it off, covering his right eye as he wiped the blood away, his cheek stained slightly. "You've grown powerful," he stated. "I don't break my promises now. Allow me to avenge my sensei." A red chakra enveloped Naruto, both of his eyes bleeding slightly as a ribcage and two arms that seemed like bones enveloped Naruto. Itachi Uchiha. A large ball of lightning appeared in Naruto's hands, the lightning lighting the room up significantly. "You have my permission to die." He slammed the Susanoo hand onto the ground as it seemed like several bolts of lightning came from the ground and the two disappeared in bright light. The building was reduced to rubble and ashes, and only two people stood confidently among those ashes. Itachi Uchiha stood tall. His Sharingan eyes narrowed at Naruto, who also stood tall. "Huh. I guess it wouldn't be that easy, would it?" Itachi shook his head. "Naruto Uzumaki, you are not on my level. Maybe you'll die here and leave Sasuke to fight me in your stead. Then, I'll kill him and take his eyes." Naruto's Byakumanjiku Sharingan as his veins only bulged further, a single black slit going down vertically down his eyes. "You won't touch them." His skin grew lighter as his blonde hair turned light gray as it grew past his shoulders as two white tails sprouted out of his lower back. "You won't touch any of them. I won't let you hurt Sasuke ever again." "So this isn't about revenge anymore, is it?" Itachi asked as he threw his cut-up shirt off of him, revealing his toned body. "You wish to protect your friends from me, right?" Naruto didn't answer, his fingernails turning into claws now as he glared at Itachi. "Yes," Itachi spoke, closing his eyes. "That is the path you've chosen. Then this is our final battle." He opened his eyes, no longer hardened but soft as he let the tiniest of sad smiles crawl across his face. "Then come, let us fight. One last time." Naruto rushed forward, as well as Itachi as they engaged into a battle of pure taijutsu, exchanging blow for blow, Itachi blocking kicks and kneeing Naruto in return, and Naruto blocking punches and returned his own punches, as well as hitting Itachi with his two new tails. Itachi jumped back, avoiding Naruto's vicious attacks as the teen tried to hit him with the newly grown tails, hitting the ground as it unsettled the dust, making it stain the air. Itachi made a single hand sign. "Fire style, Fire Dragon Jutsu." He shouted as a large dragon spewed out of his mouth and headed towards Naruto, who narrowed his eyes as his left eye began bleeding profusely as a vortex appeared midair, snatching the dragon midair as it suddenly disappeared. Itachi's eyes widened as recognition came into his eyes. "Impossible, you have the dash," he began, but was cut off as Naruto rushed forward. Itachi threw several shuriken and kunai at the curse mark enhanced boy, but it only went through him, as if he was an illusion. "You have the same eyes," he muttered before Naruto landed a punch to the face, sending him flying back as he landed right into a crumbled-up wall. "Shut the hell up, you Sharingan-obsessed bastard," Naruto shouted as he rushed blindly forward, only for a sword to pierce his shoulder. But it wasn't a sword made of steel, but it was a sword made of orange chakra. Naruto's eyes widened as he felt some of his chakra drain as the curse mark on his neck disappeared. The tails faded from existence as his hair returned its normal color. "Now you are no longer infected by that snake, and now you are desperate for power," Itachi spoke as he walked calmly towards Naruto, whose eyes had widened with shock as the sudden withdrawal of power made him freeze in place. Itachi grabbed Naruto by his hair and made him look in his eyes. "How would you like to relive your tragedy of a past?" "No," Naruto whispered. Why is it so cold? Why did they throw that bucket on me? Why?" Itachi's eyes widened before a sword of ice pierced his torso. "Now it's your turn to feel the cold," Naruto spoke as he stood on his feet, where Itachi collapsed to his knees. "You really think I relied on that bastard's power?" He spoke condescendingly. "I'm surprised you thought so little of me." "I don't." Itachi spoke as a single kunai went right through Naruto, a tiny hole appearing on the bottom left of his hip. Naruto screamed in pain as the Itachi that was on his knees disappeared in a flock of crows. "Genjutsu, damn it, I grew cocky," Naruto breathed out as he clutched the hole in his hip. He began limping backward, trying to get away from a Susanufied Itachi, who was in an avatar figure now, Itachi standing in the middle of the Susanoo. "You let go of your hatred, and that's why you lost." Itachi spoke as if it were plain and simple. "You have lost your hate, so you have lost this battle. Goodbye, Naruto Uzumaki." Itachi spoke as a sword appeared in his hand, Susanoo's hand. "No, no, 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 no." Naruto shouted over and over. It wasn't supposed to end like this. It wasn't. It wasn't. The last thing he saw was the sword piercing his chest. Naruto woke up in a plane of darkness. A small crackling sound could be heard from behind him. He turned around and saw a small fire going strongly, 3 sticks hanging right above the fire, cooking a single fish on each stick. Naruto, come sit down. He heard as he suddenly saw Kakashi sitting on a log next to the fire, and across from Kakashi was Shisui, who smiled at the blonde. Shisui, Kakashi. He spoke in awe as he drifted towards them, sitting on his own log. What are you doing here? Shisui shrugged. I have no idea. I was enjoying heaven and everything, and here I am talking to you. Kakashi, I smiled. I think this is what we can call the plane between life and death. Are you dead, Naruto? Naruto shrugged. I don't know. The last thing I remember is Itachi stabbing me with his Susanoo sword. Shisui's eyes widened at the name of Itachi. Oh, have you surpassed him yet? Naruto shook his head. Not yet, he's so strong. I got cocky, and for that I lost. Kakashi let out a long, drawn-out sigh. You were always cocky when you gained power. Naruto let out a small, embarrassed chuckle. Yep, but I don't know why I'm here right now. His eyes shadowed over. Maybe this is my hell? I've done terrible things in my life, unforgivable things, and now I have to face my father figures and get those disappointed looks. How about you start with what you did? Tell us all of your sins, and then we can begin. Naruto nodded as he fiddled with his fingers. Well, I killed the Hokage. Kakashi almost laughed. I killed my replacement sensei and her Umbu squad. I cut my bonds with Sasuke and Sakura. I've killed several men, women, and children in the name of Orochimaru's vessel. Each came with a new jutsu or taijutsu, or an experiment that enhanced my body. He then explained his new motives for killing Itachi. Holy shit! Shisui exclaimed with a low whistle. Quite the rack up there, huh? I knew you'd betray Konoha one day, but at least you did it for a good cause? Kakashi said in a questioning tone. I want to protect Sasuke and Sakura, no matter the cost, Naruto said with a clenched fist. That's why I have to beat Itachi. That's why I have to go to the darkness and embrace it. But Naruto, Shisui began, a sad smile on his face. You weren't made for the darkness, you were made for the light. Naruto shook his head as he stood up, his whole body glowing. No, I can protect everyone from the shadows. I'll become a villain if it means protecting those too. He grinned at Kakashi and Shisui, who marveled at him for some reason. That's my ninja way. Naruto, Kakashi began, giving him a thumbs up. I believe in you. Go kick some ass for me. I'm sorry, little brother, Shisui said with a sad smile. But I hope you emerge from this darkness one day and realize that there is a better way of doing things. Goodbye, sensei. He spoke before disappearing in a flash of light. Naruto opened his eyes to Itachi towering over him in his Susanoo. Oh, so you're awake? Good. He spoke before removing the sword from Naruto's chest. I wanted you conscious so I could watch you scream as you died. Naruto closed his eyes and grinned. No, I won't die here. I have too much to protect, and I won't let myself lose to. He screamed as red chakra, a mix of the Kyuubi's foul chakra, and his Susanoo enveloped him before he smashed a fist into Itachi's Susanoo chin, making him fall back. Naruto stood up, his avatar's body having armor surrounding it as he stood on the Susanoo's own 2 feet, a dagger in the left hand and a chakra rod on the right. He clashed the two together and pointed it at Itachi. I will kill you today, Itachi Uchiha, and make you regret the day you fucked with any of those I love. He screamed as thunder sent a ripple through the rain as a lightning bolt hit Naruto's Susanoo, energizing it further. With the lightning came rain. I will end your life, and all of the nightmares you bring, all of the hatred you create, and all the suffering you put Sasuke through. Today is the day you die. The lightning that surrounded the Susanoo traveled to the dagger and chakra rod, the two glowing a bright blue light as Naruto added his own chakra to the mix, making it fester and spark into a large bolt of chakra-enhanced lightning, it turning slightly red due to the Kyuubi's chakra. Finally, Itachi began as he closed his eyes. A successor for my burden. He deactivated his Susanoo and stood still. Naruto put the rest of his chakra into this one bolt, struggling to keep his Susanoo active. I'll call this the perfect bolt. Now die. He screamed as the lightning stopped sparking suddenly as it all moved to the chakra rod. Glowing so bright Naruto had to squint before it shot right at Itachi in a perfect spiral-shaped lighting bolt as it pierced through the Uchiha's chest, hitting his heart on its way as it hit the ground behind Itachi, making an explosion that enveloped Naruto as well, his Susanoo deactivating as he was hit by his own jutsu. Itachi laid in a large crater, dead, his body covered in burns, a thin layer of chakra protecting his eyes. "And no, more," Naruto muttered before he collapsed face first into the dirt, unconscious. "Over here," a familiar voice shouted. A few pairs of footsteps could be heard as suddenly a whole Umbu team appeared, as well as a beaten-up Sasuke and Sakura stood next to Naruto, their eyes wide. He did it," Sasuke whispered in awe. "He killed Itachi." Sakura couldn't believe it either. He had single-handedly defeated Itachi Uchiha. "His real dream came true," she uttered in a whisper, just loud enough for Sasuke to hear. "He finally killed the man who was the source of both of your suffering." A couple of Umbu sealed Itachi's body away before they picked Naruto up as well. "What will happen to him?" Sasuke asked in a worried tone. The Umbu turned to him and in a dark, scary tone, spoke. "He will most likely be executed for the crimes he committed against Konoha, but that's before we harvest his cells so we can duplicate his bloodline." Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widened in horror before the Umbu disappeared in a Shushin with Naruto's body. "Oh no," was all Sasuke could get out before the two ran back to Konoha as quickly as possible. A man with an orange mask sat in a tree, having observed the entire fight. "To have Kamui as well as Amaterasu, I must admit, I'm jealous," the masked man said as he watched the leaf ninja leave. A plant-like figure erupted from the ground beneath him. "Why don't we kill them and take the boy and Itachi's eyes?" The masked man waved him off. "Patience is key, Zetsu. I need Naruto Uzumaki to be at his lowest for us to move, and so far, it seems as if he had just been boosted a level or two up." He stood up and began walking away from the battlefield. "But Konoha alone will take him several levels down. Then we shall enact our plan. Okay?" "Of course, Madara-sama." Chapter 24, Burning Leaf. Naruto woke up, a blinding light making him squint as he tried to move, only finding himself tied down, his movement completely restricted. What is this?" he asked, groaning as he felt a wave of nausea attack his body. "Where am I?" "You're in Konoha," a female voice hissed. "Well, fuck me," he said as he closed his eyes, trying to fight off the headache that was coming closer. "I don't want to die here." The woman let out a low laugh. "Oh, you won't die, not yet at least. We have some questions to ask you, and then we're going to extract from things from you, and then you can die." The lights suddenly turned off, making Naruto's vision go black as he could no longer see things. "You've done a lot of bad things, Naruto Uzumaki, a lot of bad things." The woman purred as a kunai slid across his whiskered cheek, drawing a small river of blood from his face. But to Naruto's credit, he didn't even flinch. "Trust me, I know," he spoke. "But I don't regret doing a lot of those things. So how about you either kill me now or be killed by me later?" His vision saw through the dark now as he peered at the woman. "Those are your only two options." He recognized the woman, it being the same woman who proctored the second exam during the Chunin exams all those years back. She hadn't changed a bit. "Oh, it seems your pair has only grown since I last saw you. Didn't the bastard kick your ass and in response, you destroyed a rather large section of my beautiful forest?" "I did, but I killed him a few weeks back. It was funny watching him die." He spoke as he met Anko's eyes, the woman taking a step back in shock. "And then I killed Itachi, who was twice as strong as Orochimaru was. So release me or die later." Anko was shaking. It was Naruto thought was fear, but then she burst into laughter. "Wow, that's fucking hilarious. His own little vessel killed him." She suddenly grabbed Naruto by his hair and yanked him up, making him face her as she glared murderously at him. "For that, I'll go a little bit easier on your torture. Okay? I say go full force because I'm the reason you failed to kill your master. You'll never surpass him." She grinned before stabbing the kunai in his shoulder, causing him to grunt in pain. "And you'll never get your revenge, because I killed him, not you." "You shut the hell up," she screamed before stabbing the kunai in his thigh, twisting it as she did so as Naruto let out another grunt of pain. "Anko, that's enough." An authoritative voice spoke as a woman with blonde hair and 2 pigtails came strolling in. A green vest-like shirt over her gray and black tunic, showing off a well-developed bust with a crystal necklace around her neck, a diamond dot on her forehead. "Leave, I wish to speak to the prisoner alone." Anko snarled, but obeyed the woman as the door slammed behind her. "So, you're the infamous Naruto Uzumaki, huh?" she asked politely as she sat down in front of Naruto. "You know the last Hokage who was alone with me died, right?" The woman rose an eyebrow. "Yes, but I'm not a feeble old man who is too trusting of an unstable Jinchuriki," she said simply. "My name is Tsunade Senju, the 5th Hokage. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I don't give a shit," he spat out, glaring at the woman. "Humph, you should watch the way you talk to me. I could kill you with a snap of a finger, or a flick of one if you prefer," she said, her tone even and filled with confidence. "Yeah, right, the weakest of the Sannin. Who do you think you are to threaten the likes of me?" He spoke angrily as the slug Sannin didn't even flinch. "Listen, kid, I'm here to propose something, okay? You're going to die, that's guaranteed. Now, I can make your last days ones of comfort, or ones of complete agony, your choice. I already told you, if you guys don't kill me right now, I will kill you all myself," he said between gritted teeth, his dark blue eyes meeting the golden honey eyes that the Senju had. "Do you have the power to back that up? You haven't fully recovered from the fight with Itachi Uchiha yet, so you can't possibly take on every ninja in the village. You have a seal that was designed to steal your chakra at all times. Tell me, Uzumaki, how do you think this will play out?" Naruto looked at the ground for a second, his Sharingan twisting into its Manjikyu form as he faded out of his restraints and stood up, rubbing his wrist slightly. "I copied the Manjikyu Sharingan from Itachi before he died, even with half of my chakra gone," he said as a tag fell off of his back. "I can still beat the strongest in the village, that being you, right?" Instead of panicking or freaking out, Tsunade sat calmly. "I know who you are, Naruto Uzumaki. I know you hold no true ill will against Konoha. You killed the old man because he wronged you." Naruto nodded. "Of course he did. He kept me an orphan. Kept me out on the streets so your stupid villagers could torment me. He kept me alone on purpose. He deserved to die, so I killed him," he shouted passionately, chakra swirling around him as he took a step forward. But once again, Tsunade did not move. "Why aren't you moving? Aren't you angry at me? Scared of me? Intimidated?" he asked in a confused tone. She rose her left eyebrow slightly. "Should I be?" "Of course," Naruto spoke as he lunged towards the woman, only to fall through the image as she suddenly shattered into thousands of shards of what seemed like crystals. "Genjutsu." "Interesting, so you would have killed me," a voice echoed out. "I guess you'll stay here without food nor water. Let's see how long your Uzumaki genes can carry you, shall we?" And with that, the light turned off and Naruto was left in darkness. Chapter 25. The Death of Uzumaki? Naruto didn't know how long the cycle has continued. No food, no water, only the lights coming on momentarily to blind him before multiple cuts appeared on his body, probably from that Anko woman. But when he felt for the ground, he could never find a drop of his blood. He could no longer access his chakra. Most likely several chakra suppressors were plastered onto his body, and he couldn't break them, nor cut them off. It was quite the torment. He couldn't sleep, they wouldn't let him, always busting into the room and cutting him, taking his blood, and then leaving him to lay on the ground, his cuts already healing. Was this how he was going to die? It must have been several days, maybe a week or two. He couldn't tell. All he could tell was that his stomach hungered for food, and his mouth thirst for water, it being drier than the desert in Suna. It was utter hell for him. And Orochimaru talking his head off the entire time wasn't helping either, which was weird because he could have sworn Itachi had gotten rid of the curse mark, which he first thought had the visions of Orochimaru had come from, but he was wrong. "Oh? I think they're coming again to get some more of your juicy blood?" Orochimaru hissed, only his snake-like eyes being visible in the dark. Naruto's pale blue eyes meeting Orochimaru's own weakly. "Peepetto." He got out as the door to his room opened, the lights cutting on, making Naruto close his eyes, accepting his fate as of now. "Holy fuck," a familiar voice said as they caught sight of Naruto. It was Sasuke. "I thought Tsunade-sama said they were treating him humanely," Sakura said sadly as Naruto felt himself put on his feet and sat into a chair. "Naruto, Can you hear us? He slowly opened his eyes, squinting as he caught sight of Sasuke and Sakura, looking at him with a mix of pity and sadness. What are you doing here? He slurred out before the smell of food hit his nose. His eyes opened completely as he caught sight of the steaming ramen with a cup of water. He instantly dug in savagely, eating it vigorously before grabbing the cup of water and drinking it in one gulp. His eyes then widened as he threw up, his stomach not used to having this much food at once so quickly. You have to take it slowly, Dobe, Sasuke said sadly as he placed another bowl of ramen and a cup of water on the table in front of Naruto, who wiped his mouth with his sleeve. You knew I'd eat it quickly, huh, Sasuke? Sasuke shook his head. No, but I knew you would want seconds. Naruto nodded thankfully as he slowly ate his ramen, making sure not to eat it like a pig would its slop. He drank the last of his water and met both Sakura and Sasuke's gazes, feeling better a little. What are you doing here? He saw their sadness and his eyes fell to the empty bowl of ramen. Final meal, right? Sakura's eyes watered a little bit, but she smiled through the pain and closed her eyes and nodded. Why yeah, we're to escort you to the public execution, or the Anbu to do the escorting at least, Naruto nodded as he stood up. I see, okay. He closed his eyes, a small smile appearing on his face as he met Sasuke's eyes. I killed Itachi. For both of us. Sasuke smiled sadly at him. Yeah, I know. I'm to get his ashes soon. Naruto nodded as he held his arms out, his wrist connecting as he met Sasuke's eyes. Put those cuffs in your pocket on me, please. He requested. Sasuke looked startled but nodded nonetheless as he cuffed Naruto, several paper tags on them. How much longer do we have? About 30 seconds, Sakura answered. Naruto nodded before taking a deep breath. I don't regret what I did, he spoke, shocking both of them. I'd do it 1,000 more times if it even meant that this outcome would happen each time. This is for the best. I'm glad to have met both of you. My dream is complete. Are they? Orochimaru asked at Naruto's side, but was ignored. As long as you die with a smile on your face, then I am happy, Sasuke said, noticing the happy look on Naruto's face before the two jounin led the criminal out of his cell and down the hall, where 6 Anbu awaited them. I'll see you outside, Naruto, Sasuke spoke. Goodbye, Naruto-kun, Sakura said as she pecked him on the cheek, tears streaming freely down her face. Naruto's eyes widened at the feeling of her lips on his cheek. Don't worry, we'll meet again, one day, Naruto said before they hugged the blonde but then left, sending their sad smiles in his direction. The moment the door shut, a single tear rolled down Naruto's cheek. It's time to go, an Anbu whispered softly. Naruto nodded as they walked out, 3 Anbu on each side of Naruto. There was a clear path to a wooden stage where he would be killed. The Hokage, Tsunade Senju, stood on the said stage, her arms crossed. A man with white hair and a large scroll on his back stood next to her, a look of despair on his face. The civilians had made clear of the path but were all sending Naruto death glares, muttering words under his breath. About time, I told the third he should have been put to death, and now he killed the third. Demons don't belong in this world. I hope he was tortured enough. Good riddance, scum. My parents were right all along. He is a monster. But Naruto stood tall, his face adopting an emotionless facade as he walked up the stairs to the stage, approaching a small white circle and falling to his knees, but his head still stood tall. Naruto Uzumaki, you are Tsunade began, but was stopped as Naruto coughed. What? My last name is Namikaze, the same as the 4th Hokage's. Please use that. Tsunade's eyes widened momentarily, but she nodded. Naruto Namikaze, you are hereby sentenced to death for the assassination of the 3rd Hokage, committing treason and conspiring against Konoha, the murder of several Anbu operatives and your own sensei Yugao Yuzuki, and several more charges of murder that have been swept under the rug by the 3rd Hokage, but you will stand for them here. You will be put to death by beheading. An Anbu with a sword came right behind Naruto, awaiting the Hokage's command. Tsunade, the white-haired man began. This is Minato's son, we can't kill him. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at the man. Shut up, Jiraiya. It doesn't matter who or what he came from. He's guilty of all of these charges. He killed Sensei. She hissed angrily. He's getting everything he deserves. She's right, you know. Naruto spoke out, surprising the man named Jiraiya. No matter what someone comes from, guilty is guilty. I'm trying to save your life here, Jiraiya whispered. Just shut up. No, Naruto said, surprising the two elders even further. I want to die. My dreams have been accomplished, Itachi is dead, and Sasuke and Sakura are safe. I'm fine with everything going on right now. I won't fight. You want to die? Jiraiya asked, shocked to the core, not expecting these words to come from the Jinchuriki. He nodded. Yep, Naruto said in a chipper tone. I know, edgy and shit, but I've wanted to die for a long time, but I never got the chance because I had to complete my dreams. They aren't completed yet, Orochimaru spoke, inspecting his nails. Akatsuki still thrives. Remember me talking to you about that? Naruto's eyes widened momentarily, but he shook his head. They'd be fine. The only thing I'm sad about is not dying like a badass. That'd be cool. He's insane, Tsunade murmured but gestured to Naruto. Stand up and say your last words. Naruto did as ordered and stood up, looking at the crowd. Hello, old friends. He met a lot of stares from his former classmates. It's been a while, huh? I haven't seen you all since I made Gaara go crazy and killed your Hokage, he shouted gleefully, getting boos in return. Oh, you can all go to hell, he shouted. All you did was treat me like shit, so fuck all of you bitches. Do you think I care what a nobody thinks? I'm stronger than all of you. I don't have to care what you think. He smirked as he laughed a little. I regret not burning this shit hole to the ground when I had the chance. But that's enough about me. He turned to Tsunade. I'm ready now. He got back into the white circle and got back on his knees. You're quite the brat, Tsunade said with a smirk. If you weren't a criminal, I bet we'd be friends. Naruto shrugged. Perhaps I'm ready now. Let's go. He saw Tsunade nod and then looked at the Umbu behind him before everything went black. What are you doing, you brat? The Kyuubi shouted at Naruto, shaking the sewer water that Naruto found himself standing in. Oh, Naruto questioned. What am I doing here? Can't I just die without you ruining my afterlife too? Naruto, Orochimaru spoke seriously. If you don't save yourself, then Sasuke and eventually Sakura will die. Old age does that, you immortality-obsessed bastard, Naruto countered. No, he shouted, pinching the bridge of his nose, shaking his head. No, the Akatsuki are strong, stronger than Itachi was by a lot. I've met them. The leader is a Rinnegan wielder. Naruto rose his eyebrow. Wasn't that a myth? He shook his head. I've seen it, and it's quite terrifying, he spoke. They want to destroy the world, and Konoha is part of that world. Sasuke and Sakura can't beat them. They're stronger than you think, Naruto said, narrowing his eyes at the dead man. Then why'd you leave to protect them? Naruto opened his mouth, but closed it, not having a counter for that. You aren't done yet until there is nobody who can beat Sasuke and Sakura. They will always be in danger. You have to be alive to protect them. Realization dawned upon Naruto's face as he saw that Orochimaru was right. They still needed to be protected. Good. Now go save yourself so you can save both of our asses. Kyuubi shouted angrily before Naruto found himself back in the real world. The sound of a sword slicing the air filled his ears. Naruto rolled forward, the sword hitting the wood where he had just been, jumping up in the air, flipping before landing on a lamp post in the middle of a crowd, breaking the cuffs on him before peeling off several of the chakra suppressors and throwing them to the ground, the feeling of his chakra returning. Sorry, but I have to destroy the Akatsuki first, Naruto shouted as he made a single hand seal. A few dozen sharp spikes of wood coming from the ground, impaling and killing several civilians before bombs across Konoha began going off, a clap of thunder echoing the air. Naruto's eyes widened. Okay, that wasn't me, he yelled. It was me, a dark voice shouted as someone stood on another lamppost, wearing a plain black cloak as he stood, peering down on everyone who had avoided death. He then looked at Naruto. It looks like you do not need saving, Naruto shrugged. Whatever, I don't mind the help. Tsunade glared at Naruto, pointing at him. Kill them both. Several Umbu rushed them both. Naruto looked at his aider. May I get a name? Call me Tobi. He spoke in a deep voice before several civilians turned into white humanoid creatures with green hair as they began killing everyone in sight. Then, a group appeared on a building next to the lamppost where Naruto stood. all four of them wearing similar black cloaks as Toby did. "We made it in time," Suigetsu said with a grin. Karen, Suigetsu, Yugo, and Kabuto had come to save Naruto, bringing a smirk to the teen's eyes. "Good. Well, I guess I can have fun before I fulfill my next goal," he said, standing up completely straight and looking at Tsunade's eyes, sucking the umbu up in a kamui with his Manjiku Sharingan shining. "Let's burn Konoha to the ground then, shall we?" Chapter 26. Sacrifice. Naruto ducked under an umbu's sword swipe and punched him in the stomach, causing the umbu to double over before lightning sparked across Naruto as he suddenly threw out his hands as black flames killed multiple umbu and civilians alike before he clenched his hands into fists as he jumped into the air and sent lightning down towards another grouped-up bunch of ninja and civilians, frying them instantly. "Naruto!" Sasuke shouted in anger. "Stop this madness!" Naruto looked at his friend and shook his head. "No, I will not." Naruto suddenly ducked as a Chidori from Sakura flew over his head. "The old Naruto is dead, Sasuke. We need to let go of our childhood friend and kill this monster." Naruto didn't even flinch. He just met her emerald green eyes before a single hand sign caused a wall to appear in between them as Naruto disappeared in a blue flash, appearing behind her and slamming her head into the wall, disorienting her. "Sorry, Sakura-chan," he whispered, turning to Sasuke. The war between a bunch of white humanoid figures and ninja alike surrounding them. "She loved you, you know that, right?" Naruto shook his head. "No, she loved the old me. The me that would let people I cared about die. I've changed, Sasuke." Naruto brought out his sword, Sasuke doing the same before they charged each other, battling ferociously in Kenjutsu, sparks flying around them as they were equally matched. "I won't lose to you," Sasuke roared as his Sharingan shifted into the Manjiku, shocking Naruto before he had to jump back, a blade of Amaterasu in Sasuke's hand daring to touch him. "How do you have those cursed eyes?" Naruto hissed, worry burrowing into his heart. "When you left, I gained these eyes," Sasuke spoke before a purple chakra began surrounding him, a large purple chakra humanoid encasing him, a bow in its hand. "Now, let me see the real Naruto." The chakra arm pulled back as an arrow that was encased in lightning was ready to be shot. Naruto smirked. "I see. Well then, I guess I'm going to have to use my own then, right?" A gray chakra enveloped Naruto, but this Susanoo was much more developed, standing on its 2 feet as 2 wings sprouted from his back, completely covered in armor as a dagger and a chakra rod were in each hand. Naruto standing in the head of Susanoo, being able to see the village clearly. Death. That's all he saw. Death. This was Kakashi's village, wasn't it? His father's and mother's village? Shirsue's village? Why was he destroying it? Was it really part of his goal? To protect Sasuke and Sakura? No, he was hurting them. He always hurt them. He was the poison in their lives. "Everyone stop fighting," he screamed at the top of his lungs, using his chakra to enhance his voice. Almost immediately, the leaf stopped fighting against everyone else, everyone looking at Naruto with confusion. "If you are not part of the leaf, then leave," he shouted. "I don't want any more bloodshed because of me. Go home. Stop fighting." "Ah ha 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 ha." Toby began laughing as he appeared on the Susanoo's shoulder, laughing hysterically. "Hee, you think you're in a position of power? I used you so I could attack the leaf. With Itachi out of the way and everyone in one place, I can exact my revenge." Naruto's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Toby laughed some more before answering. "Itachi was forced to destroy the Uchiha clan. He threw his life away for the Leaf Village, killed his own clan to prevent a coup d'etat." "You're lying?" Sasuke shouted, aiming the arrow at Toby now. "There's no way. You don't have to believe me, but it's the truth." He then turned to Naruto. "And Itachi didn't even kill Shirsuke Uchiha. Danzo Shimura, one of the elders of Konoha, used his underground route to kill and steal one of Shirsue's Sharingan. Itachi just wanted you and Sasuke to be friends, so you would have someone in this world filled with despair." "No. That would explain why Shirsuke was acting weird when Naruto had said Itachi had killed Shirsuke. It's not true, it's not true. That's impossible. Had he killed an innocent man? Had he really painted such a horror-driven painting of Itachi Uchiha? But it sounds as if you believe me, huh, Naruto? How about we destroy the leaf together, and then we can take the beast out of you, okay?" Naruto froze as he turned his head to Toby, who was grinning under his mask. "We!" Several explosions rippled through Konoha as several people ran around, killing everything in sight, all of them wearing black cloaks with red clouds littering them. "Akatsuki," Naruto whispered in awe and shock. "What are they doing here?" "I ordered them here, of course," Toby spoke maniacally. "I'm the leader after all." Naruto's eyes widened as he deactivated his Susanoo. Not being able to move, shock filling his system. "This world shall know pain," the one with the weird eyes shouted as he began floating into the air. Almighty push. Everything was still, no one spoke, no one fought. They just looked at the flying man with awe before a large wind spread across the village before the center of the village suddenly exploded as the buildings were swept away, taking several enemies and allies with them. Naruto's eyes widened as he suddenly grabbed Sasuke and Sakura in an instant and encased them within his Susanoo, the debris flying over them and making Naruto grit his teeth as he felt his Susanoo stressed to the limit. "Naruto, what's going on?" Sasuke asked. Naruto grimaced as he began healing Sakura. The wound on her forehead disappears. "The Akatsuki are here. This is the final battle." The vibrations through the ground had stopped, and the dust had lifted up. Naruto deactivated his Susanoo and the three began walking forward. "What the hell, is he a god?" Sakura asked as she limped a little, surveying the destruction of her village, it being completely gone, reduced to rubble. "No, just a man." Naruto spoke as he eyed the man who had done this. "I will take care of him." He then saw the rest of the Akatsuki members, recognizing them all. Kakuzu, Haiden, Pain, Konan, Deidara, Zetsu, Kisame, and Toby. He looked back at them and grinned, closing his eyes. "I'll take care of them all, catch your breath." Then, a hand swiped his face, a loud smacking sound echoing throughout the crater they now stood in. It was Sakura, tears flowing out of her eyes as Sasuke just watched. "You idiot, stop this. Stop this self-destruction. I hate you so much, but I love you so much too. It hurts when I see you like this." Her green eyes shut as she shouted. "So just let us help you. We're Team 7, damn it." Naruto's dark blue eyes widened before a tiny smile appeared on his face, nodding. "As you wish." He turned around and saw Suigetsu, a slightly injured Karen, Kabuto, and Yugo, standing in front of them, determined looks on their face. "We follow you, Naruto-sama," spoke Kabuto. "You lead the way, we will help you." The rest nodded in agreement as Naruto grinned. "Good. It's the 7 of us against those bastards. We can do it." He palmed his fist before Karen offered her arm. "Bite down. I know you're still a bit worn out from the fight. It'll heal you and replenish your chakra." Naruto looked at her with worried eyes. "Are you sure?" She clenched her eyes shut, nodding quickly. "Just do it." Naruto shrugged and bit down, just hard enough to draw blood, making Karen wince. Instantly, Naruto felt 10 times better. "Thank you, Karen." He then drew his sword as he faced Akatsuki once again, lightning scattering across his body. "Sasuke, you haven't gotten rusty on me, have you?" Sasuke shook his head at his best friend's words, stepping forward to join Naruto, lightning sparking across his body, making Naruto grin at the realization that Sasuke mastered the technique. "I'm offended you would think that." His Sharingan activated as a surge of chakra poured out of both teens, their fist connecting in a fist bump. "Let's go, Naruto." The two disappeared in flash, leaving the other 5 behind. "What monsters?" Kabuto chuckled, pushing his glasses further on in his face. "Always ready for a fight." "Whatever, let's go help him, okay? I can't let Naruto get too far ahead of me," Suigetsu said, holding Zabuza's old sword in his hand. "Let's go," Sakura shouted before they rushed as well. Naruto jumped over one of Kakuzu's fireballs, clashing against Haiden's scythe before disappearing from view as he kicked Kakuzu in the head, sending him back a few yards before flipping back to avoid dozens of paper shurikens from hitting him. Haiden rushed Naruto, swinging his scythe with precision and skill before he disarmed Naruto, the teen's sword flying into the air, only to be caught by Sasuke as Naruto kicked Haiden's legs out from under him and Sasuke piercing Haiden in the head, lightning flowing out of the sword and frying the man's brain and making him no longer useful, brain dead. "Sasuke!" Naruto shouted as Sasuke ducked, a spear of lightning piercing Kisame's chest. Sasuke sunk into the ground and emerged right behind Kisame, Naruto's blade piercing the shark-like man's skull as he flopped to the ground. Rockets flew at Naruto, one of the paths from pain as Naruto and Sasuke dodged. Explosions rippling in the air as the heat could be felt from Naruto and Sasuke. Suddenly, two dragons made of earth and water spiraled towards Naruto and Sasuke, who both activated Susanoo just in time as it crashed into their avatars, protecting them both. On your right, Suigetsu shouted as a wave of water passed Naruto and Sasuke before encasing Konan. Making all of her paper jutsu useless, Suigetsu appeared from the water as he tried to slice Konan in half, but Pain stopped it with a chakra rod, appearing to not have difficulty with repelling Suigetsu's attack. What the dash Suigetsu began but was hurled back. Then, explosions appeared where Sakura was, but Hikunoichi avoided them expertly, fighting Deidara who was practically spamming clay bombs from his handmouths. Karen and Yugo were fighting Zetsu, demolishing the man who could only evade and not attack, not having any powerful attacks in his arsenal. Sasuke, get the paper bitch, I'll get Pain, Naruto shouted. Sasuke nodded as they separated, for the time being, fighting their respective opponents before a blast of wind knocking Sasuke to the side. Naruto cursed before he quickly flashed behind Kakuzu and lit him on fire with an Amaterasu, killing him in 2 seconds. Don't forget about me, Tobi shouted as he kneed Naruto in the stomach and throwing him to the side. Several missiles threatened to blow Naruto up, but the blonde just easily evaded them all as he jumped forward and grasped Pain by the head and slammed him down, heat rising off of his body. Shit, cursed Tobi as he backed up. Pain's path surrounded Naruto, each one ready to attack, but the blonde only looked at his hand, the Byaku Sharingan no longer in his eyes, but a Rinnegan with 6 tomos, 3 on the first 2 inner lines. The Rinnegan, interesting, he turned to Tobi. I heard it has gravity manipulation, is that true? He held his hand out and squeezed, Pain's paths suddenly being crushed instantaneously, blood and parts spread as to where they once stood. Cool, he turned to Konan, who was sending paper bombs at Sasuke in endless hordes and lifted his hand up. Universal pull, he murmured, his tone filled with excitement as he saw her come closer to him, the unknown force pulling her towards the teen. He grabbed her by the throat and her eyes widened when she met his own. Impossible. She got out before her neck was completely crushed under Naruto's grip. He saw the rest of the members fighting and easily killed them with the snap of his finger, breaking their necks or making them explode. He then began laughing. Geez, this is awesome. Why couldn't I get this earlier? He said as he walked towards Tobi, the power coursing through his veins. Are you ready to die, Tobi? Don't think this is over, Naruto Uzumaki. It's Namikaze, you masked fuck, Naruto shouted as he tried to use his gravity manipulation to pull Tobi, but failed as Tobi vanished in a swirling vortex. Naruto let out a long, heavy sigh as he saw on the ground that was once Konoha, a small smirk on his face. We won, he'll be back, but for now we won. Sasuke grinned as he plopped down next to his best friend. Yes, we did. That Tobi guy doesn't stand a chance. You guys know that everyone in the village is probably dead, right? Suigetsu began, sarcasm lacing his voice as he glared lazily at Naruto. Don't act as if everything is all fine and dandy. Naruto's eyes widened momentarily before grinning. I got this. He stood up, clasping his hands together as his purple Rinnegan glowed slightly, the roots of his hair turning white as a large gate erupted from the ground. Naruto, Sakura began. What are you doing? My gut is telling me this is what I have to do. I'm reviving everyone who was killed here, he shouted as blue chakra began surrounding him, spinning like a tornado before he yelled. Rinnery birth. He screamed at the top of his lungs as blue objects shot out of the gate, restoring life to everyone who had died during the attack. By now, Naruto's hair was snow white, and he was panting and on one knee, grasping to put air in his lungs. Naruto, Karen whispered in awe. You saved everyone. I can feel their chakra, she exclaimed. Naruto laughed a little as he stood up, leaning on Sasuke who rushed to help the exhausted white-haired teen now. Good. I feel like I'm about to pass out, he whispered, a small grin on his face. Don't let me fall asleep. I want to see this through the end. What do you mean? Sakura began, putting a hand on the teen's shoulder, concern in her eyes. It's over. We can worry about Tobi later. Now you need rest. Now you will die. A dark, deep voice resonated through the air as Tobi appeared again, this time wearing a white mask with a glowing Rinnegan in one eye, and the other eye a Manjiku Sharingan. A sword pierced Sakura's stomach as she lurched forward, blood coming out of her mouth as her eyes widened in horror. The pain of the burning sensation of steel cutting her open like this, making her unable to scream, stunned. "Sakura!" Naruto screamed as he rushed Tobi, who only chuckled as a vortex appeared in front of him, larger than the rest. "I will destroy Konoha, and you too, Naruto Namikaze. Die!" Thousands upon thousands of completely amped-up paper bombs began flying out, sticking to everything it could, mostly the broken buildings and rubble. It approached the group quickly and Naruto put his hand out as a bubble-like barrier appeared between the paper bombs and the rest of the broken-down Konoha. "Save her, Karen." Karen didn't hesitate as she forced Sakura to bite into her multiple times, not even wincing as the bites left several bleeding marks. Sakura nodded weakly as she stood up, ready to fight along with the rest of the group. "I'm using all of my chakra to stop the bombs from going everywhere and to stop them from exploding," Naruto shouted from inside the gravity control, paper bombs flying everywhere around him as he looked back. "I can't hold it for much longer." "Naruto, get out of there!" Sasuke screamed. "Naruto-sama," Kabuto shouted in panic. "I don't have another Rinari birth in me, guys." Naruto spoke just loud enough. "If I drop this barrier, if I go through it, everyone will die." Orochimaru appeared by Naruto's side, though only the blonde could see him. "Is this the way it ends, Naruto?" he asked curiously. Naruto nodded. "This is the way it has to end," he replied as he grit his teeth, sweat pouring down his face as he heard Tobi's maniacal laughter. "Naruto, we can't lose you," Sakura screamed, crying hysterically. "Not again." Naruto's Rinnegan eyes glowed golden for a second as trees began surrounding the gravity barrier, his eyes bulging as the veins could be seen, crystals forming around his feet as several shadows appeared next to him. "All of the bloodlines he's ever copied," Sasuke whispered in awe. "He's giving it his all now." Naruto screamed in pain as he was running on empty, barely holding on. Suddenly, Sasuke and Sakura appeared in a green meadow, bright blue skies above them as the sun shined down brightly upon them. They saw Naruto standing in the field a couple of feet away, looking away from them. But he was a child, no older than 6 years old. They were children too, they realized. "What is this?" Sakura asked, surprising herself with her own high-pitched voice. "A goodbye," Naruto spoke as he turned around, grinning brightly. "What do you mean, a goodbye?" Sasuke said as he walked forward along with Sakura. "We're finally together again." Naruto let out the laughter of pure happiness, shocking both Sasuke and Sakura. He ran towards them and jumped, sticking out his hand to Sasuke, who looked at it weirdly. "What? Remember? We shake now. Our goals are over with, now we shake." Sasuke's eyes widened as he realized the truth behind Naruto's words. He realized Naruto was going to die. With tears in his eyes, he shook Naruto's hand firmly, trying his best not to let the tears fall. "Okay," was all he could get out, his throat clenched. Naruto turned to Sakura, grinning. "I always liked your forehead. It's charming," he said as he kissed her on it, causing her eyes to widen. He liked her insecurity, but why? He grabbed both of them with one arm and pulled them into a hug. Shocked, but a pleasant shock, Sasuke and Sakura hugged Naruto back as the blonde boy spoke. "I love you both so much. Thank you for everything you've done for me," he said happily as he hugged them tighter, tears gathering in his eyes as Sasuke freely wept now, along with Sakura who cried into Naruto's shirt. Naruto pulled away, his eyes closed as he smiled, Kakashi and Shisui appearing in the distance. "Well guys, I have to go. We'll see each other again one day. Believe it." Then they were in the real world. "Naruto!" Sasuke and Sakura shouted as the bombs exploded, the wood and crystals keeping them from reaching the outside of the barrier, reinforcing the gravity. After what seemed like minutes, the vibrations stopped as well as the explosions. Karen collapsed to her knees, crying. "He's gone, Naruto's gone. Gone, he's gone," was all she could say over and over again. Sasuke, completely numb, walked forward as he saw no corpse, no bones, nothing. He sank to his knees as he felt something hard. His eyes widened as he stood up and dug a little, only to find a headband from the hidden leaf, a scratch running straight through it. Naruto's headband. He looked up into the sky and let out a cry of pure sadness and anguish, letting it all out as tears flowed down his face in rivers. His brother gone from existence. Sakura only watched as she was in shock, just tears flowing steadily down her cheeks as she watched with wide eyes. Naruto was gone. Their Naruto was gone. Naruto Namikaze was dead. Epilogue. A man dressed in a long-sleeved blue shirt and gray pants with a black tunic covering most of his body stopped in front of a grave. His graying black hair covering a dark purple eye with several circles around it with 6 tomos, and the other eye was a dark gray, a dullness in them as it looked sadly down upon the grave. "I'm back," he whispered. "Again. It's been a few years this time, almost 23 if I'm correct." The man sat down on the ground, sitting crisscrossed as he lit 4 candles and set them upon the gravestone, one on each side, and the other 2 at another grave sitting next to the other. "Happy birthday, Naruto," Sasuke Uchiha whispered. "I hope you're having a good day with Sakura." Sakura Haruno died 2 weeks after Naruto had died. Apparently, her heart just couldn't take it and it failed her, killing her in 2 minutes flat. He was all alone. No wife, no children, no friends. Alone. And that hurt. A lot. A quick Edo Tensei and a Rinari birth would bring you both back, but I feel as if you both wouldn't be too happy about that. A low chuckle erupted from his throat as he coughed a little bit. "I've explored the world. I've seen new things, but it would have been better with both of you here." He shut his eyes as he went still. "I miss you both terribly." He took a deep breath and stopped moving. His chest no longer moved, a small smile on his face. Sasuke opened his eyes and saw Naruto and Sakura, arm in arm as they smiled at the Uchiha. "It's about time," Sakura shouted happily. "We've been waiting for a long time." Naruto grinned at his friend. "Welcome home, Sasuke." Sasuke closed his eyes, a smile on his face. "It's been a while, Naruto Sakura." He opened his eyes, they grayness shining. "Let's catch up then, shall we?" Naruto nodded. "Of course, let's talk."